everybody. Welcome back to the Five Dudes of Views podcast. Tonight, we're going to be doing our top debut albums of all time. And you know what? Let's kick it off with an oldie but a goodie from our debut album. It's the theme song from the Five Dudes of Views podcast. Hit it.
Five dudes with views. Five dudes with views. Five dudes with views. Five dudes with views. Yeah!
All right, everybody, we're back. We're going to be talking tonight about our top 5 favorite debut albums of all time. You know, the word debut, or if you're in the south of France, it's debut. Or if you're in the south of Arkansas, it's debut.
Terrible.
Ow.
These are debut albums. Obviously, they could be a band, could be a solo artist from a band. There's a lot of great debut albums out there. There's a lot of terrible debut albums out there.
That's another
I think
podcast.
this is, yeah. It's such a good topic, man. I was thinking about this the other day. I feel like I've since the pandemic, especially, like, just gotten so much closer to music than I have like movies or anything like that. And
Definitely.
a lot of these albums, going back and digging through my library and just reminiscing about these albums, it was such a good drive down memory lane. And a lot of these albums really just hit me, and it's so funny to I feel like music especially is one of these things where you remember where you were when you heard that album.
Totally.
Or what you were
buying
going through, and it brings back a lot of great memories. What about you guys?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. You, it's like watching a movie or going on a date. You remember that moment where you heard that, or that summer of that song where it was big, and you hear it on the radio today, however many years later, and it takes you back to that moment.
Gonna go back in time.
Oof. We're going back to the
little
future.
bit of trivia. Does anybody remember our debut? Do you know whenever we debuted on our
You mean like the
on our
date?
podcast to the world?
This is a fun fact. Do we have any fanatics or stalkers out there? Now's the time to
the
speak
date?
up.
Do you remember, Brett?
I believe I don't know
Brett
for
might
sure,
know-
but I
Brett might
think it's
know.
like October 10th of 2017.
Brett Capedia.
Sounds
Whoa,
right. Brett Capedia.
Dang! You
Was that-
nailed it.
Wow.
What?
Did he really?
Are you serious?
Holy shit. Who did the score? Do you remember who did the score?
IMD Brett.
Right? Wake up, Brett, yeah. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, man, we've been around for 5 years now, man.
Wow.
I mean, that's it's a good run.
It is.
And also just wanted to throw this out there. We are probably going to run out of topics at some point. So some of our listeners out there, some of our fans or stalkers, could email us at 5dudesviews@yahoo.com. Give us some suggestions. Tell us which one of us you like, which one of us you hate. Hit us up on all the social media platforms. You know by now which ones we're on. Just to let everybody know.
So just to repeat, no confusion, it's 5dudesviews@yahoo.com and 5dudesviews on any social media platform.
There you go.
Not
Yes.
with, so don't put the with. It's just 5dudesviews.
Plus, you can send us money at 5dudesviews@chasbank.com.
Go to our GoFundMe.
Yeah.
You can send that to our personal bank
Patreon.
account.
Yes. Money or treats?
Wells Fargo.
Yeah,
Or if you're a D-list celebrity and you want to be on this show,
Hit us up.
hit us up.
Come on.
Shit, if you're an E-list celebrity,
Yeah, good point.
Yeah,
Carrot Top.
we don't discriminate.
E, is that like
Yeah.
below porn star?
Yeah.
E?
Ooh.
you know what? Here's
like
one of my
direct
things,
access.
though. One of my prerequisites for a good debut album is you got to have a great first track.
First single.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Gotta have that hit
totally,
single.
man.
Something that really gets the attention.
Yeah.
Gets the juices flowing.
Flowing.
Juices.
Get me pumped.
Get those juices
But
flowing.
it was kind of interesting to go do a lot of research on this topic and how many some of the greatest
Yes.
artists of all times have had just awful,
Yeah.
first
Debuts.
albums.
I agree.
Yeah.
I really wanted
They
to put
didn't-
a lot of bands, like specific bands, and I was like, that first record
It
wasn't really good.
up to
but the
snuff.
second one was great.
I feel like a
and
lot of
stuff
artists
like
it took maybe the second or third album before they really hit their stride, where they're like, boom,
Yeah.
this
Well,
is who I am.
I feel like, too, it can come down to who's writing for them or which producer that was
Yeah.
assigned to them.
100%,
And
dude.
sometimes that is just, they don't click, or it's
Yeah.
just not. They were trying to make them into something that they weren't, and then their next album was like, okay, this
This is their identity,
fits
the
them
record
better.
label
can be to blame for that too.
Right,
Yeah,
yeah.
they might be trying to push it a certain direction.
Sure.
The band doesn't want that.
Sure.
We know
Yeah,
it's also kind of confusing too because a lot of bands had like EPs before they had like a
True.
I didn't
debut
include
album, so
EPs.
that's kind of hard to say what was their first, release.
I didn't count
You know
Was
what's
it
funny
EP?
too?
That's true.
What I found out too when I was doing my research is some of these bands had demo tapes out before their
That's
debut
true.
album, which was really weird.
Yeah,
I didn't even. Do you hear?
Not so much anymore, but I remember like back in like 1996, 97, getting System of a Down's demo tape before their
Yeah,
first album came
that's
out.
one of the bands that they're not on my list,
I
but
had
yeah.
it, like they were passing it out
Yeah,
at a show like in Hollywood
exactly.
in like 1996.
Yep.
So yeah,
But yeah, I mean, like a lot of bands, like it's almost like the studios were trying to groom them for some sort of, a music career that they weren't going to have. I remember, they're not on my list, and their first album is not very good. But the Stones, like a lot of their stuff was like blues covers.
Yeah.
and like,
Yeah, it's like the Beatles. They
just
started
kinda
out doing blues.
That's
Yeah.
right.
It's almost just like that first album was just thrown out there, So like
Yes.
even them probably as a band would probably say like that we didn't want that to be our first album.
yeah,
Yeah.
Well, I feel like certain bands whose debut albums are exceptional are the bands that played the clubs, they did the road, they wrote all these songs and just got them super tight, and then went into the studio and it's like,
Blasted out the.
we already have our first album.
Yep.
Like, we know which ones work, which ones don't, because we played them in front of a crowd for years.
yeah.
yeah.
A few of those are on my list.
Now, did anyone
Well,
have any prerequisites or rules? Because I had a personal rule on mine.
Oh, I can't wait.
Okay, what was your?
I'll wait until I do my
Okay,
first pick.
so it's your
but
pick. Okay.
I was just curious if
Okay.
anyone had any like.
There were a lot of bands also where I thought it was their first debut
And
album.
it wasn't.
And it was like an amazing, powerful opening track. And you're like, oh shit, it's their second album.
Yeah.
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 yeah, a lot of bands
Nirvana.
had a great
Okay.
second
Oh,
album
right,
that I
yeah.
thought was their first one.
Well,
Yeah.
see,
Yeah,
I never.
Nevermind's not their first album.
That's like
Yep.
their third.
I thought
or
it
second,
was.
right?
I thought it was
Second.
for the longest
Yeah.
time.
Second record.
Yeah, and then I went back and I think I researched it for one of our other podcasts, and I saw. I was like, oh shit, that wasn't their first
Yeah.
album.
Prince is another one. A lot of people think like Purple Rain or Controversy or is his first one. He had like 3 albums before those.
Jeez,
Like,
yeah.
Yeah, it was so tough for me, man. I have like 11
Yeah.
that I wanted to jam into 5.
Yeah.
Well, this did-
and it's hard.
It is.
It didn't even dawn on me when we said debut albums. I thought it would be like the band's first record, and then Ted or someone texted and said, "Oh, what about solo albums or break?" I was like, "Oh yeah, you're right." I didn't even think.
Me
could,
neither.
Could we include that? But
Yeah.
yeah, why not?
Exactly.
I never
Yeah.
even thought of it. I always was including both, but
Yeah.
I didn't think.
Well, like
groups.
Brad and I are huge Beck fans. For the longest time, I thought Beck's first album was Mellow Gold.
Oh,
It's
no.
not. He had like
No.
2 albums before
I think-
that.
yeah.
Yeah, a lot
That's
of times
crazy.
too.
Oh.
Like when we were doing the research for
I
this,
didn't know.
I would see like the first album for a group might be like an indie label that it actually wasn't like distributed anywhere except
a
for like
wide
maybe their
distribution.
hometown. So I didn't include that as a debut album
Okay. No,
Like-
that's good. Yeah. Because
Okay.
it technically kind of
because if it wasn't available to anyone except for like
Their 10
people
friends
where
or
they're from,
whatever. Yeah.
to me that's not a debut album. Then
I
it's
hear
like
you.
more like a demo.
All right, well, let's jump into it, guys. My number 5 is a band I love. I love them. I mean, when I think about rock and roll, this is probably one of the all-time favorite rock and roll bands in my list. This album, beginning to end, every song in this album rocks. It was released on February 10th, 1978. It's the self-titled album from Van Halen.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean,
Yeah.
talk about an album that it's Running with the Devil starts off the album. Then
Yeah.
Eruption, You
I-
Really Got Me. Ain't Talking About Love. You also got Janie's Crying, Atomic Punk, Little Dreamer, Ice Cream Man, Feel Your Love Tonight. I mean, my God, what else do you want? I mean, it's
action packed.
I love Sammy Hagar.
I thought you were gonna say Gary. What's it?
Gary
the guy from
Cherone.
Extreme.
Oh, that guy's awful.
Which he's good in Extreme.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you want in an album, man. Those guys, when they came out, oh my God, they just must have kicked the hell out of the door. I mean, like the rock and roll door. I mean, Eddie Van Halen must have just increased guitar sales across the country.
Yeah,
Everybody wanted to be
100%.
Eddie Van Halen. Rest
Yep.
in peace.
Mhm.
But that's such an amazing album. I hear Van Halen to this day when I'm driving around, and like it still just makes me just
It rocks.
fucking
Yeah,
just
100%.
rock, dude.
Well, that's
Yep.
an example of a band that was in Pasadena, and they played backyard. I had friends who, all of us have friends out here in California who went to backyard barbecues, and Van Halen would play like before they were big. It's like that's like the old school method where you just played and played and played until you were tight as a band, and you wrote all these
Yep.
songs and tested them in front of crowds at barbecues and small clubs, and that's how you come out with a kick-ass debut album.
They opened up for Black Sabbath, and they blew Black Sabbath right off the stage. They're just, that
That
When was
party
that?
rocking.
that extra oomph.
Yeah, I mean, Black Sabbath, they were,
When was
Drunk
that?
as
Well,
hell.
and
What
David
year
Lee
was
Roth
that?
is such a charismatic frontman.
Yeah, he is,
It's like-
dude.
what was
Larger
what was the
than
year
life.
of this record?
He was.
78.
He's retiring. Remember,
He's
he just
retiring
retired.
in Vegas soon.
78.
78, yeah. So right around there.
Yeah, well, like he wasn't a great singer. That's why they were such a good studio band, because
Yeah.
he could pull that off in the studio. But like live, he can't really hold a lot of notes. But it doesn't matter.
It doesn't
'cause he's,
mater.
like Brad said, he's so charismatic.
Yeah,
like he is the
dude.
definition
Super
of lead singer.
energetic. Yeah.
I mean, it goes to say, like, when you see someone like that live, you're really just watching a performance. You're
Yes.
watching him run around,
Yep.
do
True.
the high jumps,
Yeah.
jumping off the
Splits,
drum kit,
yeah.
the splits,
It's like
the leotards,
Yeah,
the
showman,
confetti.
like,
That's
yeah,
it.
That's
he's
the
a
word,
great
So you
dude.
kind of
showman.
overlook that other stuff because you're enamored by.
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean,
His
Sammy,
stage presence.
It's very
Right.
theatrical. Like
Sammy's
there's
a
lot
way
of
better
theatrics.
singer, but it doesn't matter because David, he has the.
Did you just say Davey?
I think he did.
I think I said David has the better stage presence. Yeah.
Ted's French. That's why.
Yeah, I mean, I used to poo-poo on the Sammy Hagar, Van Halen, but you know what?
They
Like,
got some-
I mean,
they got some good
they had
songs.
good songs.
They're-
I mean,
yeah,
it was good.
I mean, look, if they
Yeah.
let's say like there never was a Van Halen led by David Lee Roth, and it was just Sammy, like
Yeah, they would have
had
been
some-
decent.
Yeah, like if you wouldn't have known about the other
Yeah.
one before.
I could see that.
We don't
Yeah.
need
It
to
would
do
still
a
be good.
versus of Van Halen versus Van Hagar because we
Ooh.
know
But,
the answer.
I'll
We
end it
know
now. It's
the
Van Halen.
answer.
Yeah.
If you look at like the hits that Van Halen had with Roth, and then the hits they had with Hagar, the Roth years
There's no contest.
are like blow the Hagar
of
years
course.
away,
Yeah.
like out of the water. Yeah.
Dance the night
Yeah,
away.
but I
It's
agree
just
with
like-
what Brad says. If there was no Roth and there was, it still would be
Yeah,
good.
like they would
Yeah,
have
if
had
you
a
didn't know
different
it would be
name.
phenomenal, but
Yeah.
it would still be good.
If they would have had a different name, even.
yeah.
Like, yeah.
Van Hagar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the Hagar.
Well, what's funny is like this album
Yeah.
came out in '78. I mean, like, but as a child, my first experience with Van
Yeah.
Halen was MTV.
Totally.
Their videos,
Yeah.
you know.
Yes.
So like
We
they
talked
were
about that.
they were huge on MTV.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Oh my
obviously,
God.
they were like gods to radio as well.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like George was, I think, about to get to say is like we talked about that on previous pods. Like Van Halen was perfect for MTV. Like he was such a charismatic frontman.
Yeah.
It's like eye candy on MTV. Like if they wouldn't have been half as big, maybe I don't know.
I
Like,
agree. 100%.
Yeah, it's like Billy said. I saw MTV. I was like, oh my god, this rock band's
I think it
amazing.
also Van Halen.
They
Like,
are.
It helped that they were for MTV. It helped that they had like a sense of humor, where they were like,
Oh,
they
David Lee
joked
Roth
around.
definitely
They're like
does.
a
Yeah,
party
he's
band.
a
I
cartoon,
feel like that
he's a
helped
cartoon character.
push
Yeah.
them. Like it helped them
Sure.
to promote them.
Hey,
on
was
MTV.
Unchained on their first record?
No, not on that one. That one, I
That's
think
a
it
good
was on
song.
Women and Children first.
Okay.
But I mean, they were so tight as a band. I mean, can you imagine the first time you heard Eruption?
Oh
Like,
my God,
holy
great.
crap.
Like,
Like,
holy shit, that's
who
a
is
guy,
this guy?
playing
Yeah.
guitar? It's amazing.
It's pretty phenomenal.
That band spawned a lot of like copy type bands, I feel.
Wouldn't he turn around so people couldn't see his fingers?
Yep. He did.
So they couldn't figure out how he's making the
Yeah.
noises on the guitar.
Yeah.
Who's this? Eddie Van Halen?
Yeah.
guy
it's
was
safe to
fucking
say that Van
sick, dude.
Hagar was the snow caps of rock and roll.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Previous
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Shut up.
All right. On
that.
that note,
Shut the fuck up.
let's go to Brad, number 5.
My number 5 is a rock band from Georgia. Can anyone guess? Their debut was in. Oh, does anybody want to guess first?
Do the year-
B-52s.
wait, tell me
It's
the
gotta
year
be
and then I'll try to
B-52s.
guess.
Someone, I know someone's gonna say REM.
Oh.
It released February 13th, 1990.
1990, Georgia.
Andrew WK.
Outcast.
The Black Crows present "Shake Your Moneymaker."
That's
yeah.
a great band.
It was it's named after a classic blues song written by Elmore James.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you guys are Black Crows fan. Like
I do.
what I
I
love
do-
about
I
this,
do love that
what I love about
record.
Black Crows, they're just it's almost like Billy was talking about, like the Stones, the Beatles. They have such a toe in the blues, in blues music that that blues rock. Jealous Again, Hard to Handle, Twice as Hard, She Talks to Angels. Like, those are just such amazing songs off this band's first album. And I don't know if you guys have ever seen them live, but man.
I have
I
not.
haven't.
Oh, yeah.
Never
Billy
saw
and I have seen them a couple times.
Yeah.
They
You
just
know,
played.
great.
I think they just
Are they
played.
still together?
They are. Well, the brothers There's like a behind the music on VH1 that's great. Like
They
those
don't talk or something?
Yeah, the brothers like have
Volatile.
always had feuds. They like getting
Very
fist
Are
volatile.
they
fights.
like the Oasis brothers? the
Yeah, like they get in
Gallaghers?
fist fights. They're like, hey, don't punch. We
On stage.
just the only
Oh,
rule is
wow.
don't punch in the face. Like you can
Yeah.
do any, you can bite, you can whatever you
God,
pull
bite.
hair.
Wow.
Just
Who
don't
does that?
don't punch in the face.
Wow.
Yeah, but
Um,
dude, they're touring right now and they're playing
Yeah.
that album.
oh,
Wow.
are they?
Yeah.
Well, I remember before the pandemic, they had released dates, and then like all that stuff came to a halt. Obviously,
Yeah,
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Like
It's
with a
cool
lot
they're
of
playing
concerts,
again.
Yeah.
So I'm not the biggest Black Crowes fan, but that first record was amazing.
Yeah.
And I hear that a bunch of their hits off that first record were covers, which I did not know.
yeah.
Yeah, Hard to Handle was
Hard
an
to
Otis
Handle.
Redding song.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
They did a great. That's a great version.
I don't think I ever
mean,
realized
I-
that was their debut album.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
I like that album. I love their second album. That's my favorite album of theirs.
What was
The
their second
Southern
album?
Harmony Musical Companion.
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
That's a great one. I mean, yeah, dude, they were good. I like their sound. They were just kind of like a fun band you'd see at a bar somewhere. Like they had that vibe. They also MTV helped them out a lot. With their videos, they were always on. That Hard to Handle song was on all the time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, She Talks to Angels, still a good song,
Yeah.
man. I love that. That's a good album for sure.
It's funny how I don't know what in the timeline of like where Chris Robinson started dating
Kate Hudson.
Kate Hudson, but it's like I just hate it when like that kind of stuff like overshadows music and kind of
Yeah.
like puts a band in limbo and
Yeah.
like
Sure.
they still
On
make
hold.
great music together. It's just
They'd been around almost a decade when they started dating.
yeah, I think so.
It was like
It was a
late
really
90s.
exciting time, and I remember back then, late night shows were really like pumping up like the new bands and stuff like that. I remember seeing Letterman announce Black Crowes
Yeah.
with their first single, and he was so excited, and like they just played their asses off. It was really cool.
Well, for me, it doesn't feel like that kind of band exists much anymore. Where it's just like the down and dirty, like a blues rock, where they're
Blues
just
rock,
like
yeah.
they're just like a
Megan Thee Stallion.
they're just
is
like-
very similar.
they're just like a rock band, like a good true rock and roll band.
I feel like there
And
might
dude,
be
Chris-
still,
Chris
but
Robbins-
they don't get coverage. Like
Yeah,
that kind of
right.
music just
Yeah,
isn't
it's either like
popular.
the diehard fans or
yeah,
you hear their music in a movie, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
yeah.
What were you saying?
And dude,
Bill?
Chris Robinson could sing. He had a
He had
great
great-
voice.
Dude, yeah.
I mean,
Great,
like he
that-
could carry tunes.
Yeah.
You could.
Not like these kids nowadays who they do the synced with the little
Auto-tune-
computer graphics
auto-tune.
behind
Yeah,
them.
auto tune bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why
Auto-tune.
nothing.
Do
they still
that's-
use
That's
that?
what seemed.
I don't
That's
know. Finally
who's
stopped.
getting all like the spotlight now, and it's that garbage.
This ain't no
Yeah.
Justin Bieber.
God. Number 5 for me, the Black Crowes, and like Billy said,
All right, Ted, number 5.
like Billy said, they have very other albums down the line are just as good or better. But for me, that debut album is just burst on the scene.
All right, Ted, number 5. What do you got?
I got a lot of metal to talk about today.
Oh,
And this number 5 is Pretty Hate Machine by Nine Inch Nails.
ooh, wow.
One of my favorite bands of
That's
all time.
pretty
but I
solid.
feel like Trent Reznor was an innovator. I remember at the time I wasn't
true.
into
Yeah.
that type of music. And I had a friend like who was around. He's like, dude, you're into metal. You should really listen to Pretty Hate Machine. You'll like it. And I remember thinking, oh, it has keyboards and
Synth, a little synth.
yeah,
in it.
synthesizers and stuff like that. That's not what represented metal to me.
Yeah.
Sure.
But I think later on, I want to say like within 5 years, I really got to like sit down,
Yep.
appreciate it. I moved to California where I had a lot of friends that were into Nine Inch Nails. We were in the club. Oof. And you can really like I saw them live. I
I
saw
have
Nine Inch
too.
Nails live,
Never-
and they
never seen
were
them live.
Wow.
they
Never
were
seen one.
awesome.
Oh my God,
the
dude.
the lead track is Head Like a Hole,
Yeah.
which is like a
Jesus.
that's a ripper. That's amazing. And
Yeah.
then even Sanctified and Down In It's a great track.
That's a great album.
It's like danceable metal. It's
I never
really
in a
even
weird
think of
way,
it
you're
as
right.
metal.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
is.
It is.
Because I remember
Yeah,
when
you
I
hear
went
that
and
in a
saw them,
club.
I never even think of that.
they had
album
like a
as
little
being
mosh
metal.
pit out in the front.
Yeah.
And people were going crazy, dude.
I never think of this album as being metal. I always think of it as being
Electronic
industrial
or
slash alt rock
Uh-huh.
slash
Goth kind of.
goth. Yeah, I never think of it as being metal really.
Yeah.
But
But it is though. It's funny. It's listed as like. Again, I was doing research and same thing. It's listed as metal
Yeah.
for some reason.
Yeah, and yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think that it kind of is a combination of like different types
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
music. Like I could see the Depeche Mode influences and Kraftwerk, and
For
there's
sure.
like some dark gothy stuff.
Did you say like
too.
the top singles or your favorite song?
Yeah, so Had Like a Hole Down in
Ministry.
it, Sanctified.
I feel like Ministry was a
Ring
huge
Finger is the
influence
last
on-
track, and it's a really good track too.
Yeah.
Like it used to be one of my favorite songs. I feel like Any Given Moment, one of those songs is one of my favorite.
And it's
songs.
one of those albums where you can play the first song and listen to it all the
Absolutely.
way through.
I
and
feel like it's a
yeah.
very
It's also an album. I
complete
feel like,
album.
Well, most of his albums actually, but that one especially.
Mhm.
It's when you listen to it now, it doesn't sound like it's from 1989. It sounds like it could be
Yeah.
from 1999 or even maybe even more recent. Than
Yep,
that.
I think it was way ahead of its time.
It was,
in
for
terms
sure
of
it
like
was.
musicality and
Sound
technology and
Yeah.
Well, now I think
songwriting.
Trent Reznor's kind of moved on to like
Scoring.
He
Yeah,
is,
Him and
yeah.
Atticus
Yeah.
Ross
Like, he
big,
won
scored.
big stuff. Yeah, he won what Oscar I think.
Yeah,
For
an
Soul.
Oscar.
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah.
For Soul. Yeah.
Mhm.
Right.
Yep, and also what was the
Gone
Facebook
Girl.
one?
He
I
did
think
Gone Girl. I hated that score,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, and Social
I like
Network.
Soul. I
Social
like
Network? That's the one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. So that's my number 5.
Great seeing him
Yeah.
live though. If you ever get a chance to see him, I
Oh,
don't know
it's
if you
great.
can now. It's
Yeah.
a whole performance.
Right,
It's
it is.
ridiculous.
Does he
Soon,
even
hopefully
still
soon.
does he even still tour? Like
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
was
they were
before
gonna
the
play
pandemic.
I think you're right.
Pixies,
I think my
for a
friend saw
couple
him
shows. They
within this
canceled.
last year.
Yeah, I think he's
Yeah.
touring.
What'd you
again.
say again, Billy?
They were going to play with the Pixies, do a small Midwestern tour, and they had to cancel the shows because both
Oh,
the bands
that would have
decided
been.
not to do it.
That's an interesting tour, actually.
Wow, I'd have seen that.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow,
Wow, wow,
wee,
wee,
wah.
What the?
Wow,
All right. What you got, Brett, for number 5?
All right, number 5, and I'm thinking this might be on for sure honorable mentions. Someone else's honorable mentions.
Okay.
Released June 15th, 2004. Does anyone want to take a guess?
What was the date?
June 15th,
2004.
2004.
Is it a perfect circle?
It is not a perfect circle.
That was going to be my guess.
Oh, by the way, I have a personal rule real quick before
Oh,
I
yeah.
name my number 5, because that reminded me of Perfect Circle. I had a rule, as much as I wanted to break it, but I stuck to it. All my debut albums, I didn't include if an artist was with a band and then spurred off and did their own solo album. I didn't include that in my top 5. They got disqualified because I figured a debut
Wow.
should be like a true debut where like this is the group or solo artist's first time in the studio. It's the first time they've been marketed.
Yeah, I like that.
They're brand new. It's a fresh face. You don't know who they are. So I feel like it's cheating if like, let's say
David Lee Roth's
George
solo
Harrison's
album
first
or-
solo
yeah,
album.
yeah.
I can't. Come on, he's been touring for like 10 years
Yeah.
at that point.
I disagree.
So I DQ'd any of those. So
Okay.
that was my personal rule.
That's a good one.
my guess is Outkast. Is it Outkast?
It is not Outkast. Wait, Outkast 2004. I said not 1994.
Creed.
They were 2000s.
Uh,
2000s, bruh.
By Island Records, recorded in Berkeley in L.A.
Lana Del Rey.
Produced by Jeff
That's not funny.
Saltzman. It's The Killers, Hot Fuss.
Oh,
Son of a beast.
Wow.
excellent.
Yeah.
I've
About
had
that.
that on my list many
Dude,
times.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
This
Definitely,
album
wow.
was just oh man, I remember when I first heard it when they started getting heavy radio play. Somebody told me it was the first single, and I remember I was like, "Wow, who is this?" Like, because I had never
Excellent.
heard of them, and they were just like so like fresh and new sounding. It was
Energetic.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
like '80s synth mixed with like some like maybe
People
like
compare-
early
they had that 80s
Springsteen.
They've
with
been
just
compared
arena
to
rock, like,
Duran Duran.
Yeah.
yeah,
I would
it
say
was just
so.
a lot of bands that I loved when I was a kid, and then this new band. So I was just like, I was hooked. I was a fan
It's
from
it's
the
a
moment they.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That and their second album's great.
Mhm.
yeah. So I mentioned somebody told me their other big singles or big hits from the album were "Mr. Brightside," "All These Things That I've Done," and "Smile Like You Mean It."
Great.
Debuted on the Billboard. I'm gonna do trivia on all mine. Billboard trivia.
Here we go.
Debuted on the Billboard 200 the week of July 3rd, 2004. Would eventually peak at the number 7 position the
Wow.
week of May 6th, 2005. And this is insane. It spent 94 weeks on the Billboard 200
Wow.
before finally falling off April 22nd, 2006.
That's
like
great.
2 years later.
That's
Like,
Fucking
crazy.
Great
yeah.
run, man.
And it's insane. It didn't peak till it was almost a year old. May of 2005.
Yeah, it did have
came
a
out
kind of a
July
late
04.
buzz to it.
Yeah, but as soon as they started playing on the radio, then it was
it
huge.
blew up,
Like,
dude.
Yeah.
It was
blew up.
huge.
I remember
So-
seeing them on the MTV Awards. I might have been watching it with Billy. I can't remember. And like Axl Rose came out to introduce them. I was like, you hadn't seen Axl Rose in years, and he was like, oh.
Was that like Chinese Democracy was kind of
yeah,
new,
it's kind of starting up, and he was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, Brandon Flowers." When we introduced the band, I was like, "Oh my god!" Like they got Axl Rose to introduce the Killers.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's kind of cool.
It is.
And
Yeah, that album's great. It's really good.
It's really good.
I still have that CD in my car.
Yeah, it's
I-
awesome.
I also tried to, and this was just a personal
balls.
thing I did. All my top 5 debut albums, I tried to pick ones that were like made a huge impact on the music industry. Like,
Yep.
they weren't just. I mean, they are personal favorites of mine, but they're also ones that really like just hit. You know, like a ton of bricks. The
Yeah.
music, like
I-
these are impactful.
I did
albums
mine
that
the
everyone
same,
knows
exactly
about.
the same
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, I just
great record.
I like that album a lot. I didn't really listen to the Killers after that. I just think that like that album is, you know, it captured a moment in time.
I love Sam's
And
Town.
Yeah.
but a lot of those songs are still really good. That's a
Very
fun
good.
album to put on every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a really interesting vocal style too.
He
And
does.
I don't know if everybody likes that, but I liked it.
I do.
Yeah,
It's
it's
kind
kind
of
of like
for that.
It's like lounge singer mixed with like.
I think it helps
They're
too
from
if,
Vegas.
if you've seen them live. I think I don't know. It takes on a whole other.
I loved it.
I love his
Yeah.
solo stuff too.
Yeah,
So.
Now, have they changed out band members?
They have.
since the first album.
they have. I think the guitarist or maybe even and the drummer quit. I
can't remember
think
now.
yeah, they've had people rotate.
Good stuff.
Yeah, because I saw them on something a while back ago, and I was like, that doesn't look like the drummer from the original. But I hadn't seen them in years, so I don't
Yeah.
know who's in and who's out.
Yeah.
Kind of like Maroon 5. Who's in, who's out?
Oof.
Speaking of who's in, who's out, George, number 5.
All right, let's go. My number 5 was released 1965, December 3rd. It is The Who with My Generation.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, the reason
Great-
I'm picking
great
this
pick.
album and putting this on my list for my mom, who,
Okay.
as a
Aw,
kid, I remember her having this album and playing it over and over and over at our house. Now, there was a little vintage antique / thrift shop by my house. We would walk to it. Now, I wouldn't say every day, but maybe once a week, and my mom would buy some records. And I remember her. I don't remember her buying that album per se, but I remember her just having that album and playing it. And me as a kid was like that kind of music in my head. It was just like
Soundtrack.
blown away.
Yeah.
Because as a kid, you watch cartoons, you're watching TV,
Sure.
Yeah.
you watch stuff, but this just music in
That's
your ear
amazing.
just blows you away.
Yeah.
Very personal.
And what's fun is I remember it was like a couple weeks ago when I started doing my research. I saw this on the top 100 Rolling Stone albums of all time or something
Yeah.
like that, and I started playing the songs and closing my eyes and remembering like my mom, like the smells of my
Yeah,
mom
isn't that
cooking,
awesome?
and
I'm not
just,
crying.
like,
You're crying.
I know exactly. I'm not crying. You're crying. But it just brought me back to that time. And it's
awesome.
like Billy was saying earlier, how
That's awesome.
these albums just they'll take you and they'll grab you and they put you places. And Brad even
Yep.
mentioned it, how it's like on a first date.
Transports you back
to
to that time.
I swear to God, it did. It took
Yeah,
me
it's awesome.
into my mom's kitchen, just smelling the cooking coming out of there, and then My Generation
Ooh.
playing, and it was just it was awesome, man. But yeah,
Yeah, man. Like sometimes when I hear bands, like I get jealous because I wish like I was a kid
Yes.
when like the Who or the Beatles
Ah.
came out. Because dude, that would have blown your mind.
Yeah.
Like music like that at that time was like, what is this? Like
Yeah.
it just would have changed your trajectory in life. Maybe, who knows? But yeah, and the Who are one of those bands that were so just like, wow,
Yeah.
listen to these guys. You
and
know?
what's cool, that was like one of my first introductions to music was like the Who, the Beatles, and I know Brett and I have talked about this before on the podcast where we had that the local oldie station KEarth 101, and
Oh,
they would
yeah.
play this music, and we're like, holy
Yeah.
shit, like who are these? Like the Monkees and stuff like that. You're
Mm-hmm.
listening to them, and it's like that's your first introduction to music.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, I love the Who, man. They're one of my favorite bands.
And
So
it-
good.
It's sad because like after that album and then just going on to other music, I kind of forgot about them for a while, and then recently, just kind of reintroduced them to myself, and it was pretty awesome.
It's like
Do you have the
rediscovering
Who's
new
Next?
Music almost.
What's that?
You have Who's Next? That's
Yeah.
a great album. And then the Tommy album
Yeah.
I love a lot,
Yeah.
just because I was a fan of that musical.
I
and
was
that's
listening
a,
to
that's
that
a weird
on
movie.
I was
but
listening to
it's a
that on
great-
YouTube
Great
like, a
album.
couple days
Pinball
ago.
Wizard.
Nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my number
love that.
5.
That's a good
Great.
All right, number 4 for me. Probably going to cause some controversy
Oh,
because people are
shit.
probably going to say it's a little too high on the list.
Too high.
Maybe.
Okay.
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 Okay, let's just see. This is an album that was released in November 15th of 1986
Can I
by
try to
Def
guess?
Jam and Columbia Records.
Can I try to guess?
It became the first rap LP to top the Billboard
Guess
chart.
no. It was Beastie
Guess
Boys.
not.
Yep, Beastie Boys, Licensed to Ill.
Dude, that's a great album.
Who are they?
Holy
I mean,
shit.
man, when I was in 4th grade, I had 2 cassettes. It was Bon Jovi, Slippery When Wet.
Everybody had that.
and
Right?
and Beastie Boys, Licensed to Ill.
That's
Everybody
awesome.
had
And like
that.
Yep.
I was in a daycare because I had a single mom. She would have to wait and pick me after school, so I had to go to daycare after school. And like me and like 3 other dudes would put our cassette in the stereo, and we would act like we were the Beastie Boys. We
Wow.
would like mime the song every day, and I was like, you know, and it's probably the one CD or cassette that I've had to replace 5 or 6 times.
Yeah.
Wow, nice.
But I mean, the only reason that I put it high on the list is because, and I've been listening to that Beastie Boys book, and listening to them.
You could smell
I
it.
kind of feel like, you know, the Beastie Boys had so much better music going forward that, like, when I listen to License to Ill now, I love it.
Yeah.
But it does kind of sound like it's a little childish.
Well, of course.
So-
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, they're young.
It's frat rock. And
They
I
were
think-
only what, like
yeah,
early 20s.
And
We
at
were
the
young.
time, and at
We
the
were
time, I
young.
think that's what they were going for.
Yeah.
They were
Yeah,
going
they were
for that
totally-
type.
Yes.
yeah,
Which later on they
it was
said
kind of
that
a joke.
It was
They
aimed
kinda
at like
wanted to
college
get out of that.
kids
Yeah.
going to college.
Yeah.
Well, and also like
Just
I
out of
know
high school.
I know Adam Yauch, like MCA, like he actually like produced some of those songs and like had those songs ready to go. And Rick Rubin, when they were on tour, and Rick Rubin like redid those songs like without his permission. I mean,
Oh.
look, he said he made them like tighter and more like radio friendly, but he basically like reproduced that
I didn't
album.
know that.
Yeah.
Good
I'd
trivia.
be interested in hearing like the original.
But I mean, he looked like
Mix of it.
at that time, like there was nobody. They were stepping into a game that like no white rapper really existed, and
No.
like for three
Not-
like
none did at
three
that
Jewish kids from
Yeah.
New York are like
Yeah.
you know, like touring with Run DMC.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy.
I'll be
They-
honest, when they first came out, and I was only 9 years old, 8 years old, but I remember thinking for like, this was probably right when what's it called? You Got to Fight for Your Right was
Yeah,
like starting to get
yeah.
radio play, and I remember I was like, I don't know, like I didn't know if it was cool to have white guys be like rapping, like I didn't know, like I didn't embrace them right away. It took me like they had to
don't-
warm up on me.
I feel like any like white kid in suburbia could relate to that. And
I didn't for some
yeah.
reason. I was like, these guys are kind of.
It was
And
so
and
fun.
wa- and it
They
was-
changed my
and it-
mind, but
to
like
me, it was like I don't know. I think George, it was kind of like cartoonish
Yeah.
and
Loved it.
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
the
I like cartoons.
WWF like wrapped
Yeah.
up in like
Yeah.
the just over the top.
I think once I
fun
realized
of it.
what their style was,
Yeah.
then I embraced them.
Yeah.
But at first, I was kind of like, and also because George and I are from the West Coast, East Coast, like their music was definitely had that East Coast influence, and I really wasn't
Definitely.
into that at that
Yeah.
time as
Same
much.
here.
Like I was more into like stuff that was more like.
But when
less
I heard that
influenced by the
album,
East
I was
Coast,
totally
but-
blown away by it. I was
Yeah.
like, "Holy shit,
Yeah.
these guys can actually rap." They're like,
Did you see the videos?
Yeah, well, MTV.
Yeah, there's so
Yeah,
much
of
fun.
Well, you didn't have MTV.
No, but I had
You see,
Richard Blade was on regular TV,
Yeah.
so I saw their videos. Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, like Billy said, like for my childhood, like Guns N' Roses, Appetite, and Beastie Boys, License. Those are like my favorite albums. And then I feel like as you grow up and like listen to more of the artist's music, like I don't think License is like Billy said. Like I don't know, it's not their best music. Like they matured and
They
made
did.
and made much better music like later in their
Yeah.
careers.
For a moment,
I mean,
I
it's
remember
fun.
them saying
I still like it
in that
I still
documentary,
like it, but
they were
Sure, they
saying that they were a
matured.
little embarrassed about that album.
I get
after
it
going
Yeah,
forward,
but that's not who they were.
No, yeah,
But they, I mean,
it
you got
broke
to.
them
Sure.
They
through.
grew up.
Oh, of
Yeah.
course, you got to
Yeah.
appreciate
Dude,
that.
can
Yeah.
you imagine being early, like not even 20 years old, and throwing something out into the world,
Yeah.
and like looking back at it, like
Well, dude,
almost 40 years
absolutely.
later, like
Russell's-
oh my
dude,
god,
yeah,
like,
cringeworthy, you
Russell
know?
Simmons,
Cringeworthy.
Russell Simmons, and Run DMC like fucking endorsed them. Like, what does that tell you right,
Right,
there? Like,
right.
those are like the
Right.
pioneers, almost gods of
Of
hip
rap,
hop.
They
yeah.
were.
And
yeah.
they endorsed them. Like, come on, what more do you need? Like,
yeah.
there you go.
Yeah, it's got a great first track. Rhymin' and Stillin' is a great way to kick off the album.
Yep.
It is.
She's crafty.
Yeah.
Girls is so fun. It's just like a
Girls.
goofy song. No
Yeah.
Sleep Till Brooklyn. Probably my favorite song on the album is No Sleep Till
Yeah.
Brooklyn.
Yeah,
Honestly,
there's
Fight
a
for Your
gorilla
Right is
playing
probably
the,
my least favorite
guitar
song
solo.
on the album.
Yeah.
Which
Sleep
one
Till
is your
Brooklyn's
least
awesome.
favorite?
Fight for Your
Fight
Right.
for Your Right,
Because I've
yeah.
heard it so many times.
Yeah,
Yeah,
True.
Yeah.
No Sleep Till Brooklyn's probably one of
what's
my
you
No
guys'
Sleep
favorite
too. I love that
track?
It's,
What's your favorite track on the album?
No Sleep
That's
Till Brooklyn.
Yeah, Carrie King from
Paul-
Slayer.
I was gonna say Paul Revere.
Paul
for
Revere
me.
is so great.
Paul Revere's
that,
good.
That
Yeah.
Yeah. It has like a
Is
little
Slow and Low from that
storyteller
album?
kind of slick
Yeah,
Rick.
Slow
Yeah, I
and
like
Low.
Slow
Slow
and
and
Low
Low's
Yeah.
too. I feel like there's another one that I can't remember that I like too.
Hold it now.
If I heard the name, I'd remember it. Oh, fuck, I can't remember what it's called. It was one of the later tracks in the album, like towards the end of it.
Okay.
Like the last 3 tracks.
Brass Monkey?
No, it wasn't one of their big
That's a
hits.
good drink. Not now though, but back in the day.
Time to Get
It
Ill.
was Time to Get Ill.
There you go.
That's the one.
That's a good one.
Time to
That
Get
was
Ill.
like
That
towards
was
the end of the
always
album,
great.
though, right? Wasn't it?
Yeah, it's the last song.
Okay,
It
there
is
you
the
go.
one. Okay, I knew it was towards the end. Like,
That's a good one.
I think Slow and
Oh,
Low
yeah,
is
boy.
actually a Run DMC song that they gave to the Beastie Boys.
oh, like they wrote it and then
I think
they gave
so.
it to them to do.
I think so.
Like, come on.
Mm.
How
I can
much
feel
more do you
that.
need to be like endorsed? The dude, Run DMC gave him a song. Like, that's. Come on. Come on.
Come on.
Come on.
Come on.
All
I think
right,
that-
Brad,
I think-
what do you, come on, what, Brad, what you
Hold on,
got
do
for
you
number
have
4?
who's
Come on,
someone
come on.
saying something?
Well, no, I was just gonna say that right there transcends the fact that they're white and being accepted into like a
That
quote
community.
unquote black community
Yeah.
or black. That right there is a huge endorsement. So
It was Slow and Low. I see. 1986
Slow and
demo
Low.
for Run DMC.
there you go.
It's great. Good stuff.
All right, Brad, what you got number 4?
So my number 4 was originally something different, and somebody said something, and something popped in my head. So I just changed it, and
Nice.
I'm completely happy with this.
Okay.
Let's see if
Wishy-washy.
anyone can guess.
Yeah, give us a date.
Released on May 10th, 1994.
Elvis
Can you give it a
Presley.
genre?
Produced by Rick
Elvis.
Ocasek.
Oh,
Oh,
it's
the
Weezer.
Weezer album.
Yeah,
Oh
it's the,
my
it's the
God.
Blue Album.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say that.
Like I honestly think I like Pinkerton more. I love Pinkerton. Like I think
Wow.
a lot of like diehard Weezer fans kind of like have that argument. But
Yeah,
looking,
I hear that.
But looking back on the Blue Album's
Love
track
that.
listing, it's insane.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
those songs, like there's so many good songs on that record. I mean, I remember seeing, like Billy said, like look, you live in the Midwest or like somewhere outside of LA or New York, all you really had was MTV, and you see Buddy Holly, you're like, this is such a crazy,
Yeah.
fun
Music
video.
video.
Catchy.
Spike Jones, or
Yeah.
it's like
So catchy.
it's Happy
Yeah.
Days. Like
you walk outside and it's still playing in your head. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
The whole album
funny.
is like that. Though.
It was
like
just fun.
really catchy.
Yep.
My name is Jonas. No
Yeah.
one else.
My
The
name's
world has turned, left
Jonas.
me here. Buddy Holly, Undone, Undone the Sweater Song.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
like that
That's the
reminds me
first
of
song
that
I
whole
heard.
summer.
Yeah.
Surf Wax America, Say It Ain't So, In the Garage, Holiday, Only in Dreams. Like all of those songs are so good.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one band where if you see them live, I feel like they sound just like the album.
I saw him at
Yeah.
the Forum, dude.
Yeah, they
They're
sound so
awesome,
so
dude.
good.
Awesome.
Did Rick Ocasek
Yeah.
produce the whole album, like every song?
I believe so.
Okay.
It really has that like Cars, like hooks and sound to
Yeah.
me. Yeah.
For sure.
Buddy
Yeah,
Holly.
there's not a bad song on that whole
No,
album. man.
there's
From
In
the
My
beginning
Garage.
to end.
That one.
And in that old first album, just isn't it like 30 minutes long? It's like super fast.
I think
yeah.
it's
Yeah.
super
It's
fast.
like
yeah.
tight knit, like
I think-
great
How
track by
you know
track.
all
song-
these
great
albums we're
songs.
mentioning? They're all like it's insane because these are their debut albums. Like this is their
Yes.
they started off with these albums. It's just insane to think that like that's your first output
Is
is
that
is
huge?
that
Like,
quality
that
and
good?
that,
Yeah.
You have
that
that
big
many
of an
good
album.
songs.
Yeah.
It's like
how do you follow it up?
Yeah,
If
how do you follow that
you're
up?
Fucking awesome. Yeah.
I mean, look, they
Yeah.
had
It's funny all
Pinkerton,
these
which
groups did
I
follow
feel
it
like
up with-
Pinkerton divided fans. Like, I love that album because I feel like the group of friends that I had, that was another summer where that's all we listened to was Pinkerton.
Is that album that has like El Scorcho
Yeah,
on it?
yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean. Like, some people love it, some people hate it. Like,
I'm in the middle on that one. I feel like it was a letdown for me from their first album, but
well, yeah. I mean, when you listen to that track listing
Right,
we just
like,
said,
how do you
it's
go
like
from there?
Every
Yeah.
song is
see-
insanely
Yeah.
great.
That's just them maturing. It's them
Yeah.
moving forward and not wanting to rehash or keep
Yeah.
sounding that same sound.
Yeah.
You know?
yeah.
So,
Well, it's
go ahead.
It's funny because we just talked about the Beastie Boys. Like Weezer and Beastie Boys, they had great first albums, and then, in my opinion, they had better second albums, which a lot of bands don't do. But
Agreed.
like they both flopped. Like no one
Yeah.
bought those albums.
Yeah.
Like Paul's Boutique was a bomb. Pinkerton was not a commercial success.
No.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
like, but those albums were clearly better.
Well,
Yeah.
I feel like that to me is like such a testament of art. It's like, you know, like, look, I'm a huge John Carpenter fan, but like a lot of his movies bomb, but like how many of his movies have been remade? You
Yeah,
know, it's
a
like
1,000 times.
Yeah, like over the test of time.
Yeah.
Like that to me is the true test. Like,
Yeah.
look, over time, Paul's Boutique for the Beastie Boys is like renowned as like this huge hip hop influence.
Yeah.
You know,
I
And say- say-
I like it
Pinkerton-
better than License to Ill
Yeah,
now as I'm
exactly, me
older.
too.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll listen to that before I listen to License to Ill,
Right.
just because I've heard License to Ill so many goddamn times.
Yeah, but it's so layered.
Yeah.
There's so much to that
Yeah,
album.
exactly.
And same thing with Pinkerton. I think Rivers Cuomo like hated this album. Like,
Oh, did he?
Yeah, because it tanked. Like, it didn't do well. And then they did a whole tour where they just played Pinkerton. You know, like 20 years ago, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But it's let's see, it sold 3.3 million copies in the U.S., 15 million copies worldwide by 2009, and it's their best-selling album still.
Yeah.
And they had really good videos. Like that Sweater
Great.
song was good video. Buddy Holly obviously won tons of awards.
Yeah,
so good.
Spike
You
Jones.
know? Yeah. I think my favorite song on the album is Say It Ain't So, though. It's good.
I agree. I think that's
Yeah,
mine too.
I think that's mine.
All right.
Number 4.
Well, Mr. Ted.
And it's not even the
What
Blue
do you got for
album.
number
It's just
4?
like fans called it the Blue album.
Yeah, well, like half their albums now are just Weezer. They're
The
called
co- the-
Weezer.
yeah, the
and
color.
Then the color, yeah. Which I love that.
I like that too.
Like they had the Teal album a few years ago. It was all covers. It was the one that Africa was on.
Oh yeah.
I
Oh,
love that.
shit, I
though.
get-
the
oh,
Teal
man.
album. Like,
All right, Ted, what do you have for number 4?
My number 4 might be accused of being a little early in the list. We're only number 4, but this was produced by Mike Klink in
Oh.
1987.
I know what this is.
Guess what it is?
I know what it is. It's this is way too low. You have Appetite for Destruction.
Way
Yeah.
too low.
Yeah.
Way too low.
I mean, I have other
License to Ill, way too low.
You're Ted, you're disqualified.
What?
Just leave. Just leave. It's 4 dudes with views now.
All my picks are like solid jam-packed picks.
All
like
right.
things that really. I mean, this was a really tough list to
Yeah,
you know
it was.
compose. And Appetite for Destruction, 1987. I was, you know, a wee lad, a young lad, and I had
you
my
really?
Walkman. I had my Walkman, and man, it's just wall to wall, like just awesome songs. Like
Every song on that album.
every song is great.
And
so
you know what? They're still playing them today.
They are.
On
Welcome,
tour right now.
Paradise, Sweet Child. I mean, those are probably the most popular. But I love Night Train.
I hear him on the radio
I
all the
love
time.
My Michelle. Mr. Brownstone.
Ooh.
Another. I mean, every track I feel is pretty.
That to me
Pretty
just
solid.
defines like rock and roll. It's
Yeah.
just a straight on rock and roll album.
And it was at a weird time.
Wasn't it like the
I
last
felt
of like the real rock and roll albums? I think
it was.
Feels
It was
like
like.
it. Feels
it
like
felt
it.
like it, right?
Appetite for Destruction?
Yeah.
No,
Well,
I feel like there's
mean,
like another
if
good.
you call grunge rock and roll,
Yeah,
I wouldn't call
I
it.
really
There's, like,
feel
different
that it
genres.
was
Yeah.
like, you know, glam metal was like kind of getting stale, and it was like a real kick in the ass up until Nirvana. I mean, it's a solid record.
Yeah.
You know, through and through. And like I wore that cassette tape out in my Walkman.
Absolutely.
You know that next year, and just loved. Like my friends were into it, and I was like, you know, and again, like my taste was like the harder stuff, Metallica and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, like
and
more
for
metal.
a band to like kind of transcend that really, you know, shows how much talent and how rockin', like, and how raw that record was. Yeah.
I thought of an album. I think it was the next year that was, but maybe not quite as hard. But like Def Leppard's Hysteria, I think was '88. That was like the next summer.
I was never a big Def
Okay.
Leppard.
Oh, really? I love
I did like that
Appetite
record.
for Destruction, Hysteria. Those like
I forgot about
two
that
albums
album.
were, like,
Yeah, you're right.
Huge for me.
I like that. I
Yeah.
like Def Leppard.
To
They were
me,
good.
like what makes it like a great rock band, like you have, let's say the Stones, you have Mick Jagger, Keith Richards, you have like this great front man, this great guitarist, and it's like same thing with like Guns N' Roses and Appetite. You had Axl Rose and
And
Slash.
Slash,
It's like
yeah.
like
Yeah.
not to say they're, I don't know, they're just iconic. Like even out the gate, they're just like, who are these guys?
Yeah.
Yeah. They were
Yeah,
just like
it's true.
brand new and just rocking. Just
Yeah, he's got
totally,
the top hat, and
yeah.
the long hair. You can't.
you can't see his face. It's just all you see is a cigarette out of his mouth.
Cigarette and long hair and sunglasses.
Yeah.
That was it.
And it was.
Yeah, I mean,
it
plus
was,
like you said, Ted, well, you came from this glam kind of scene to where these guys are just like, these guys would kick your ass
Yeah.
if they saw you.
Well,
Like
not-
these guys were badass.
It
Well,
felt
not to say
really-
though, like if you look at that Appetite video, like, look, dude, he's got teased hair and like lipstick on, but yeah, I agree. Like they weren't.
this
They're
felt
by,
like
they're by no
rock.
they're by no means a glam band. Yeah, it was
It
almost
felt
like
like rock
kicking glam
stars.
band's ass out.
Yeah.
And
They
like
weren't-
here comes.
They weren't posing. I mean,
Yeah.
it felt
No,
like
no.
these dudes were really cool, and I think that kind of appealed, you know, their image and their music too. You know.
But that's another band who kind of like got their start on the Sunset Strip and played these songs till they were just perfected,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
there's your debut album. It's
Absolutely.
just boom, song after song. It's great.
I mean, it was at a time where like the Sunset Strip was really, kicking, and a lot of, record labels were looking for that next big thing. So it was really cool.
Yeah,
Really?
I got a feeling that one's coming back at some point.
Oh, it is.
Probably.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
At least
Yeah.
3 times.
All
Please,
right,
that one back.
Brett, what do you got number 4?
My number 4 was actually not just mentioned, but has already been mentioned. It was, I think, Billy's number 4 pick.
Mm,
I think
we're on
it
4.
was "Licensed to Ill"
Yeah.
Yep.
by Beastie Boys.
Oh,
yeah,
The Yeasty Boys.
and
Twinsies.
I think I put this one on here because, and I kind of already mentioned it, I really wasn't a fan of theirs when they first came out, and then I warmed up to them. But I don't know, the album was probably like 6 months old
Okay.
when I probably started warming up to them. But
I hear you.
so that's why I put it on here, because I feel like if a band can change my mind about them, then
Oh, totally.
obviously they made an impact on me.
Yeah.
Because I wrote them off when I remember when they were like brand new, like when they first came out. I was like, who are these guys? Like, who do they think they are? Like,
Yeah, these like whiny.
yeah, like I was like, these guys don't have street cred. Like,
rappers.
like as a rapper, you're like, you're supposed to have street cred and all this shit. But anyways, they changed my mind. And now, like as an adult, when you're a kid, you're kind of like very narrow-minded. And as an adult, I was like, you got to appreciate it for the album for everything it does. It's not just rap; it's also
Nothing's
rock.
changed.
But I mean, it would be. I figured this one would maybe be on all 5 of our lists, or at least
We're not
3
done
or
yet.
4.
We're not done yet.
Whoa.
Yeah, no, I know.
Okay.
So yeah, that's my number 4.
Solid.
All right.
Yeah. Good one.
George, what do you got number 4?
Number 4, mine was released in November 3rd, 1992.
Wait,
I know.
Titled album.
I know it.
Nirvana.
Oh, wait,
It's gotta be
self-titled?
Wait.
Wait, November. Oh, I know what it is. And then this almost. I
Hold
almost.
on.
put this on
What
my-
date?
November 3rd.
Is the
1992.
cover
I
of the
know
album
it.
black
Hold
and
on,
white?
don't say
I know it. I know it.
what it is. And
Can
I
I
knew
guess?
George was going to
Go for
have
it.
this on here.
I got it.
Is it Rage?
Yes.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's
Why
a great.
not?
That's a great debut.
I
Oh
almost
my
put
God,
this
that's
on
a
my
great
top
one.
That's
5.
not what my
was
guess was.
So close.
I remember buying this album at the Warehouse. It was I think it was a CD. It wasn't a tape. It was a CD.
Yeah.
And
Long Beach?
playing it in Long Beach and playing it, and it just blew my fucking mind.
Mhm.
Like it was one of those
Warehouse.
albums where
Where you at?
I didn't like I said before, where you walk into a music store and a lot of times your eye catches something and you're like, oh shit, what is this? And I hadn't ever heard of Rage Against the Machine. I was
Yeah.
like, who
True.
the fuck are these guys?
I
Like,
didn't
and
know who
the
they were either.
album
True.
cover was just so fucking mind blowing that I bought it and was like, you know what, I'm gonna buy it, and played it, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
Mind blowing.
Yeah, 100%. And this was at the time where like graffiti and activism and people were like, fuck the system and just going crazy, and it spoke to me.
And I remember also, like, for you and I,
Yeah.
like the riots had just happened like
Yes.
6 months before that. So
Yes.
this album like had a lot, like
It did.
It was still like that was fresh in our minds.
Yeah.
So that, like, yeah.
And it
this
was-
album was big for me too.
Yeah, huge. And like Brad was saying earlier, how Axl and Slash and they have like Tom Morello and Zach
Zach,
to get
yeah.
unfucking real, dude. Like it was just
Yeah, like
Okay.
Zach De La Rocha's
in his vocals.
lyrics and like songwriting ability and his vocals mixed with Tom Morello's guitar is just like
What I love about
Amazing.
that album too, I think if you look in the album notes, it says all sounds were made. They weren't reproduced. It's
Yeah.
all by his guitar. However
Yeah.
they worded it. But
Tom
those-
Morello.
it's like, hold on, is there a DJ in this band? Like, are they cutting records? Like, what? How is he making these sounds with
Yeah.
the guitar? Like, it's such a distinctive sound with that band. It's so cool.
yeah.
And it that's what spoke
Was-
to me. Just the whole
Mhm.
that sound just it moved you. It made you want to
Definitely.
go do some
Well,
shit.
and I mean, it kind of feels like how, let's say, Guns or whoever
Yeah.
like broke through glam, like that whole glam phase. Like Rage Against the Machine, it kind of like kicked you in the teeth, man.
Yeah.
Like it was like it was political,
Yeah.
it was rock, it was rap.
Yeah, I was like, shit, this is really
yeah,
kind of like serious stuff.
in your face. Like, yeah,
what's
it was
this all
intense.
about?
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah.
What are you saying, Billy?
Was Freedom the first track released? I remember seeing that video. I think that's the first time I saw
I
them.
think you're
was
right.
Freedom.
I don't remember which.
I don't remember.
I was, dude, and it was great. Just I remember seeing him at the Olympic Auditorium, like, and they opened up, or no, who was it? It was Wu-Tang, and then it was them.
Wow.
At that time, and it
Wow,
was
what a
just
great show.
fucking crazy,
That's-
dude.
Amazing.
How are you
Yeah.
still alive?
Yeah, I know, right? It was great. Just getting out of that venue was just it was so. I remember just being,
Redonkulous?
nowadays you wouldn't even want to be around that, like, because of COVID and shit. But
Oh, yeah.
it was so packed in there, like you can smell like the
Oh, my
person in
God.
front of you.
Yeah.
That's
The
how
old
fucking
days.
packed you were.
Sardine.
BO.
Yeah, it's just
The
oh
BO.
my god. But just being there and listening to the music and just the sound being so fucking loud that I thought my eardrums were gonna explode. It was just that moment was just
Definitely.
You were
It's
like, I'm here.
musical history,
Yeah.
yo.
And what's funny is there's a little trivia for you guys. I remember, or I was reading that. Where is it at? Rolling Stones got it rated as the number 24th. Oh wait, a list of 100 greatest metal bands of all time. How is that? Do you
metal?
get metal from them?
No, I mean,
I mean, I
It's
feel
hard
like
edge,
there's
but-
so many different elements to that.
I get
band.
more-
You
it's
can
more
take
hard
a
rock
little,
than
but
metal.
yeah,
well,
yeah.
in the
I wouldn't call it
beginning, I remember
metal.
they probably were lumped in with like rap metal.
Yeah.
But-
exactly.
No.
They're not like a Limp Bizkit rap
Oof.
metal
No,
kind
yeah.
of.
Which reminds me of in the MTV Music Awards when Limp Bizkit won like the best rock album of that year.
Right.
The drummer stormed the fucking what is it? He jumped on top of the speaker.
Oh, I remember that.
I
protesting
remember that.
against it.
Great.
Yeah, he went to jail that night, by the way.
Wow.
But yeah, I don't know. I
A rebel.
wouldn't classify it as metal.
I
but-
wouldn't call it metal
Yeah.
either. More like
No.
hard rock.
Fuck you, Rolling Stone.
Yeah.
Mixed with rap, yeah.
Sure.
So yeah, that's my number 4.
Great.
Yeah, it had a great cover too. I remember I still have that sleeve
I do too.
in my possession.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a good one.
That was
It
from the-
catches you, dude.
was it
You
the
walk
Vietnam
by-
War
Yeah.
when that photo was taken originally?
I think so. And
He
the
was,
dude
like,
set himself
protesting.
on fire.
Yeah.
It was fucking just
Like in
Yeah.
front of a huge
Can you imagine
crowd.
being like in your teens and walking up and seeing that album? You're like, what
I
the
remember-
fuck is that?
I remember going to Tower Records right after
shit.
the album came out, and remember Tower Records at the time used to paint album covers
Yeah.
like murals.
Oh,
Yeah,
that was
building.
great.
And I
In
remember
Hollywood.
that was
Yeah.
one of the
Yeah.
albums that was painted on there for like that
On the
year, like
Sunset
probably in
Strip.
early '93.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I remember seeing that. I was like, whoa, like, dude's on flames.
What is that?
Yeah, I listened to what's the station on? It's 34 on Sirius. I think it's the like a 90s grunge / like hard rock channel. Lithium, and they always play Rage Against the Machine. Like I'll be driving through traffic, and something will come on, and I'm like, yes, this is what you need. I mean, there's
Yes.
sometimes I remember driving to LA when you needed Rage Against the Machine
Yeah,
to come on, so
100%.
you could make it.
Yep.
Especially on the 405, you're like, dude, come on.
I mean, Bomb Track is so good,
Oh
man.
my
That's such
God.
a good first single too.
Mhm.
First track. Yeah, Killing in the Name. I mean,
That's my favorite
That-
song.
that'll start a
in the
riot
Head,
right there.
Bullet in the Head just builds up, and then it just delivers. I mean, it's a
100%.
great song, man. Yeah, they were on Axis TV the other night. They had a Rage Against the Machine concert that they were showing, and just watching Morello, like you guys were talking about, he's such an amazing performer to watch.
Yeah.
The way he
Mhm.
makes those sounds, it's like, how is he doing that?
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's like a DJ.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it's like
I would put him in my
Instead of scratching, he's
Do
like
you ever have,
making the chords like stick like it's
top
hard
5
to
favorite
explain, but-
guitar players. He definitely would be in my top 5. 100%.
Yeah.
We
It's
should
great.
have that podcast. That would probably be a good one.
By the way,
What
my
podcast?
rule
I would be up
Top
for
5 favorite guitarists.
Oh, yeah.
talking about
Oh,
Rage.
That's
God.
definitely a good one.
Talking about Rage and Tom Morello, here's an example where spin-off side project bands, like I wouldn't consider, I love Audioslave, but
Yeah.
their debut album, I wouldn't call that a debut because those guys had all been like
Yeah, they're
multiple
established.
albums like,
Agreed.
Yeah.
with different bands. So.
Agreed.
That first album's good.
But I love Audioslave, like Tom Morello's
Yeah.
like guitar on the.
Good.
You're a
on their
really hard
albums.
judge.
What's out?
You're a really hard judge on yourself.
He's got rules and stipulations.
Yeah.
He sticks
That's
by.
right.
And he's got to follow them.
He's got convictions.
God damn it.
Number 3 for me was an album that was released on January 4th, 1967.
Ooh.
Was
I
anybody
know. Wait,
alive
can I
then?
guess? Can I guess?
You can
Can I
Brett's
guess?
like a little kid, dude. I love this.
Is it
Of
The
course.
Doors by The Doors?
I think you're right.
It is
Velvet
the
Underground.
Doors by the
Come on,
Doors.
baby, Damn it.
I looked into
mean-
that
Ah,
one.
shut up.
I remember in like the summer of 7th grade, 8th grade, maybe that's when the Stone movie was coming out. Like I just became obsessed with the Doors. Like I bought this as the first album.
Bought some LSD.
Just wore it out. I mean, it's got a great first track, Break On Through the Other Side. It's got so many great songs. And then I went out and bought everything else. And like, luckily at that time, like it wasn't so expensive to buy their cassettes because I guess classic rock albums were like $9.99. They weren't the regular like $14 or $15.99. But
They were always
I
on sale,
love
you're
the
right.
Doors.
Yeah.
So great.
Oh,
This
my
is such
God.
a great first album. And it also has my favorite Door song of all time, The End. I mean, that's
Mhm.
just a way
This
to
is the end.
perfectly end an album.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a
Oh.
very iconic album, and it's classic.
That's crazy, man.
Dude, I
It's a
remember.
great album.
This isn't my first memory of the album. My first memory of the album was when I was a kid. But I remember driving. It's a very random memory. But I remember driving home from work, like 20 years ago. It was a baking hot day here in LA. It was probably like 105 in the valley. And I remember like driving in my car listening to that album, and like I zoned out. Like the drive home, just I was like so into the music, and it took me like it was like weird. I don't know, maybe it was the heat. It was getting to me, but it was just weird. Like the rest of the drive home, I was just focused on the music, and it was like all like 1 second later, I'm like already at home, and I was so into the music, and it just made that drive like easy.
Yeah.
It's an awesome album.
I don't know why I had that memory stuck in my head, but.
I mean, probably the
album's
most
great.
iconic photo was probably in the sleeves of this album. You know, Morrison outstretched with his bare shirt. I mean,
Ooh.
sorry, bare skin. You know, no shirt on, with the
Sexy.
leather pants.
Sexy.
He's the Lizard King.
The
you
Lizard
know,
Ooh.
such a great
Mojo
album.
rises.
Again, another time that I'm jealous of people who were like teenagers or kids when that album came out. It must have
Exactly.
just like
Sure.
My
blows your
mom and
mind.
dad,
Yeah.
like they were like perfect age,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
16.
Such a
17,
huge impact that
yeah.
album had.
Very
Yeah,
LA
for sure.
to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you were an LA kid, because I feel like this album definitely was an LA album.
had that
Obviously, all the
LA
Doors
kind of
music was
vibe.
all LA.
When I
I
drive
think
by
my mom saw him here in the valley in like '69. They played at the Denver
69, bro.
Ooh.
69.
if I drive by the whiskey, I just instantly think of the
Oh,
door.
yeah,
the
for sure.
Doors.
Like his
100%.
spirit is still there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a great album, Billy.
It is.
Definitely.
God, I never went to the whiskey. That's one of my regrets about living in LA.
Oh,
I
really?
never
Oh,
went
man,
there.
what
I went a
great
couple
venue.
times.
yeah, I've been to a couple
Yeah.
times.
He used to like climb in the rafters.
Rafters.
Yeah, and go fucking bananas.
yeah. Go to
Some great
sleep, take a
videos.
nap up there.
Yeah, drink
Sure.
some whiskey.
It's like Eddie Vedder.
And related,
And-
by the way, guys, you got to watch that Val Kilmer documentary. This
great.
is related.
Yeah, it's
so-
awesome.
Val,
I
I,
haven't
saw,
seen
yeah, I
that.
need to
Yeah.
watch
You guys
it.
Very
watch that?
sad.
Very sad.
Very
Very
I
sad.
have to
Very
be in the
good.
mood
Yep.
for that. I don't want to watch that if I'm like,
Oh, you haven't seen it?
no,
You'll
and
enjoy
I have
it.
to be in the mood. 'cause
It's good.
Yeah,
a
it's
couple
good.
weekends
It's a
ago.
good documentary, not like feel good documentary, but
No.
No,
I
but
know.
it's good.
But I have to be in the mood.
He's at peace with himself. I think it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, watch it.
Crystal Ship is a great song. Alabama song, the Whiskey Bar song.
That's
love
one of my
that
favorite
song.
Oh,
songs.
I love that
Nice.
song. I remember hearing that
Backdoor
song as a kid.
Man,
Again, my mom
Into the
playing that.
Night, and freaking Light My Fire, man. And I always
Right.
get really annoyed when I listen to like the radio and they cut this song. They do like the short
They chop
edited
it.
version of this song.
It doesn't sound
it's
right.
awful.
It's so weird. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why they cut
Radio,
it.
come on, radio.
Radio time. Because they got to play
Yeah.
Nirvana's song next.
The other thing I love about the Doors
7,000
is how
times.
many rock bands don't have a drummer. Like, you know, like they rely on a keyboardist. Like,
Right.
like how many bands? Like,
Yeah.
it's pretty cool that they were able to pull that off.
Yeah.
Ska band, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah,
No,
right?
yeah,
That's
maybe
true.
so.
Yeah.
Really?
It's good.
Are they all still? I know that is
The other
Krieger
guy-
the only one left.
Yeah, there's only
I
one
think
left.
you're
now.
right.
Are you serious?
Because didn't
One guy died
Dinsmore
like 5
died?
years ago.
Oh my
Dinsmore died?
God, I didn't know that.
think like
I
5
think
years ago?
did Dinsmore die?
Maybe. I don't know.
One of them died like 5 years ago. I feel like, or 4
So there's
years
one
ago.
left?
I think
Oh,
there's only one
shit,
left. of the
Man, that
three.
sucks.
John Dinsmore.
This is
He is. He. I don't. No, he's alive. I guess I'm wrong.
Is it
so
the
it's
other
Dinsmore
guy?
and Krieger.
Dinsmore is alive.
Yeah, don't rush
Yes.
it.
What about
Don't
the other
rush.
guy though?
Ray Manzarek is dead. Yeah.
Yeah, he died like
Okay.
what, like 10
Just
years
the
ago,
keyboardist?
5 years ago.
So no, it's just
Okay.
it's Krieger and Dinsmore. They're still alive. Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Brad, what do you got for number 3?
Well, we're at
My
three.
number 3's debut album released on August 27th, 1991.
Wait.
Darth Brett.
August 27th, 1991.
Yes. It was from there was a previous band called Mother Love Bone, if that helps.
Oh, Pearl Jam.
I know
Yeah.
this. I'm
How does
brain
Ted
farting.
know this and you don't know this?
Wow.
I'm brain farting.
I don't even know
right
if
now.
Ted's a Pearl Jam fan. Probably not.
Who's Pearl Jam?
Exactly.
Man,
Pearl tongue?
God damn it! If I was, well, I won't say anything. Hold.
I remember when Pearl Jam first came out, and I think they were playing. They were playing in Arkansas. I was like, I'm not going to this. This seems like a douchey kind of
Really?
frat rocky. I
Yeah,
don't know.
college-y.
College radio. I don't know. Like I wasn't instantly.
Sold on
Look, this
sold,
is like the
a
first
fan.
time I heard their song, and then like 2 weeks later, I was like, man, I want to go to this concert, and it was sold out, completely sold out. You know, and then Billy and I, seen them live, and I was, a member of that fan club for years.
Did you get like remember when they had those series of like all their live shows on
Oh,
CD?
the bootlegs?
Yeah,
Or whatever
there were
they're
like
called.
100 of
Yeah,
them.
well, then
or
it got to a point that you can just download them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, here's some of the songs from that album: Alive, Once, Even Flow, Why Go, Black, Jeremy, Oceans, Porch, Garden, Deep, Release. I mean, this is just, to me, they got lumped into the grunge band, but I feel like if you listen to it, it's just a great rock and roll album.
Yeah.
Like it feels
agree, it's
like
great.
they have influences from, Zeppelin or Stones or, like they just feel like a good rock and roll.
Yeah, I think.
And they've lasted. Like if people don't like them, I get it. Some people don't like Eddie Vedder's voice. I get. Same with Scott Weiland. Like I get. Some people don't like that. I
Goat?
get.
Like a
I
goat?
can understand. I guess I can understand that, but like
Yeah.
he's a great songwriter. I've seen him do solo shows. I don't know. they're
I
just
love his
great,
voice.
great rock. I do
What
too.
sold me on
I do
that
too.
record was the videos.
Oh, Jeremy and Even
No,
Flow
Alive and
Live,
Even Flow
yeah.
because they did like live
The
versions.
live show, yeah, Tim on
And,
the
like,
rafters, like we just
I
talked
remember
about.
getting the album and I was like, oh, this doesn't sound like, the video I saw, but I still loved it.
Well, it's just seeing that energy at those shows,
Yeah.
like it's just if you ever got to see them live, it still
I
is
never-
amazing.
Never got to see Pearl Jam,
Nope, me neither.
but
They're
I feel
still
like
around.
it's
They're
on
still
bucket
touring. Yeah,
list.
they're still. They're
Yeah,
still,
those
they
you
just
know.
had an album like a year and a
Let's
half.
go.
Let's do it.
Where
So
am
fast.
Billy, any
Stadium.
thoughts on Pearl Jam?
I? Where am I?
I really liked that album, but when it came out, I remember I had a neighbor across the street, and like he became the Pearl Jam guy, and I was like a Nirvana guy, and I was like, Nirvana's better.
It was
We
like
had
a feud.
this feud back and forth, so I felt like I kind of had this like resentment towards Pearl Jam for a little
It's
bit.
hilarious.
and I
But
was
that's
like,
what I was. That's what I was
you know.
saying. I feel like when they first came out, maybe it was both of us, but I was kind of like, on Pearl Jam. You remember they were playing in Little Rock?
Yeah, I didn't go.
Yeah, because it
I
sold
wish I
out.
would've
Like I
went.
think by the time we wanted to go, we couldn't get tickets. But
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's a great album, man. I mean, there's no bad songs on that album, beginning to end. Got a great first track. I still think to this day, even though I've gone over it a few times, I still think "Black" is my favorite song. I
Yeah,
love
it's
that
great.
song.
Mhm.
I've had so many drunken nights where we've had sing-alongs to "Black."
I mean, everything on that album you can have drunk. Just like there's such great songs,
Yeah,
They are.
yeah,
and it's still their highest selling album.
Wow.
yeah. It's got a kind of I still remember that. I worked in record stores. That album cover is very familiar to me. I always
Yeah.
have the picture in my
High
head when I think
five.
of that album.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ted's right. Like all those albums, all those music videos were
Yeah.
always in rotation. I mean, I think that's same thing. It helps a band like that. The MTV true music video.
It was a
artist
real
is gone.
Breath of fresh air because we were coming out of glam rock and it was just stripped down raw Seattle, rock. It was great.
Yeah.
Loved it.
They also had a really awesome unplugged where they played a lot of songs from that album.
Right.
And he did Porch and great. I think that just got released on vinyl a while back ago.
Really
But
nice.
yeah, it's a
Yeah.
great album.
I remember the live version of Even Flow got like a lot of radio play, like when that came out.
Yeah.
Like they started playing the live version just as much as the.
I just feel like there was
Studio version.
also like a lot of respectable stuff about this band and like Eddie Vedder who like fought against Ticketmaster and wouldn't play
Oh, yeah.
Ticketmaster venues and super great to their with the Tin Club. They're super good to their fans and try to get them as close true fans as close as they can to in live concerts.
Mhm.
Yeah, that whole Ticketmaster debacle thing. Like
Yeah.
at least
Fuck
someone
Ticketmaster, dude.
tried to fight against
Yeah.
a huge corporation
Yeah.
like that.
Mm-hmm.
Their shitty fucking what is it?
Fees
Yeah,
and
Doesn't
dude.
end.
What the
Doesn't
hell?
end.
Scalpers.
And you know what's funny? That kind of soured me from going to shows because of shit like that.
Yeah.
Like, that was
Yeah.
hard.
Dude, you
look at
gotta be
look
a
at ticket
rich
prices
man.
now. Look at ticket prices now and trying to get
Dude,
a good seat.
I can't
Yeah.
believe I was looking.
Bad?
Yeah,
Oh my
it's very
God.
expensive, and Ticketmaster now sells resale tickets on their site. It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's like
with their fees.
Dude,
yeah,
$1,000.
Yeah.
It's like they're promoting.
That's for like two
scalping.
people.
Of course they are.
Yeah, you're paying
Yeah.
that much.
yeah.
It's ridiculous.
And
I just
you have to pay
I
it.
just bought a ticket to see Tool, and the ticket was like $95, and after fees and not even shipping, because it's a downloadable mobile
Right,
ticket.
yeah.
Just the fees alone, it was like another $30.
Terrible.
joke.
Terrible.
And it's like
Yeah,
they're
dude.
charging you to
It's a
download
B-
it on your own
it's a
computer.
BSV.
That's a joke.
Dude,
Right?
I remember that fucking Wu-Tang Rage Against the Machine
Yeah.
thing. I think I paid like $40, 30, 40
amazing.
bucks
Yeah.
for fucking
I was just gonna say, I remember paying like
Yeah.
$35, $40 for shows like 20 years ago for big bands,
Right.
Yeah.
like huge bands.
That's why
and
I
now,
like seeing
no way.
Prince for $25.
Dude, Weezer
absolutely.
at the fucking
Yeah.
forum was
Yeah.
like $100.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now,
now
now
like
you're
no
like,
name bands are
holy
like
shit,
$50.
yeah.
Like a band that you've never heard of that you don't want to see
Sure.
is
I
$50.
I remember I saw Beck in '94. It was $10.
Yeah.
it's
$10.
amazing.
Yeah, like come
A
on.
$10 ticket.
Yep.
It's like, dude, I really want to see McCartney, but do I want to spend?
You want to sell a
$5?
kidney to go see the guy?
yeah.
And it's
I don't
When
like,
know if
I
it's
shit.
worth
saw Peter, Paul, and Mary, it was 3 nickels.
And I had enough for
What did
1
you
cent.
say?
I bought popcorn with it. The leftovers.
It was 10 cents.
They were singing Puff the Magic Dragon.
Oh,
Locked in the vase.
Pearl Jam 10, number 3 for me.
sure.
Did we just like
Ted,
did we-
3.
Did we just like age ourselves? by
Yeah,
saying
probably.
that?
Paul and Mary?
No, the whole it was $100
Oh.
when I bought the.
We probably did. But hey,
Whatever.
no hashtag
It
no
wasn't
apologies.
even that long ago though. Like I feel like 10, 12 years ago, ticket prices were like way less than what they are now. It's like in the last 10 years they went way up.
Garbage.
Well, it's the fees. It's like
mhm.
random.
They keep getting more and
Dude,
more.
and I'll tell you what. Sometimes the parking is more expensive than the ticket.
Oh, yeah.
Like I'm serious.
Yeah,
I think
parking
I
will be like
think
$25.
I think to see Prince at the Forum, the parking was more than the ticket.
I agree.
That's
Yep.
crazy.
that happens at baseball games too. If you buy like cheap seats, they're like $10. The
Yeah.
parking's usually $20,
Awful.
$25.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's
they're
how they get
They're getting
you.
their money either way.
Yeah.
exactly.
All right, Ted, what you got for number 3?
My number 3 is one of my favorite bands of all time.
Can I try to guess?
Britney Spears,
And
Give me the date.
Justin Bieber.
it came out
Backstreet Boys.
February 18th, 1974.
I'm gonna guess it's Kiss's first album.
It is.
Oh my God.
You got it. Kiss's first album. This has a real impact on me, and I've said this before in our podcast that I had a friend when we were like maybe 6 or 7 years old who had these records, and we just stare at the records and we listen to
stare.
these
Yeah,
records.
Kiss at 6 years old.
Yeah.
Wow, this kid's awesome.
Well, there were
Yeah.
a couple of things
I wanna be
because
his
they
friend.
played the Japan show on HBO, and I remember seeing Gene Simmons like spit blood and breathe fire.
Yeah.
I had one friend in the neighborhood who had an older cousin who would take him to Kiss concerts.
Wow.
And that first record was just had such an impact on me. You know, Strutter is the first track. Firehouse Cold Gin, Nothing to Lose is on there. Let Me Know.
Deuce,
Deuce is on there.
Black Diamond.
Black Diamond, amazing. So, just a loaded, record of this amazing, revolutionary band.
What was the album cover? What was
It was
on
the Four Faces.
And then
Yeah.
the little, but like animated or cartoony.
No,
No?
That
it
was like
was
their
it was
third or
just
fourth
their
album.
faces in like the early style makeup.
Oh,
it
I
wasn't
got
like
you.
the
Yeah,
final
yeah, yeah.
makeup. And
I don't know.
they were kind of coming into their
Oh,
own, but it was
the one
just
you're thinking
four.
of, George, where they're like kind of like in a circle, their heads like.
Yeah.
That's
No,
like
that's-
their third or fourth album.
Yeah,
I think.
Okay.
Yeah,
I had a
Rock and
bunch
Roll
of their
Over.
albums as a kid.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm not
Yep.
a huge Kiss fan, but what
Either
I
am
like is
I.
they're comic book characters.
Yes,
They're
dude.
larger than
They
life,
are.
That's what
rock
stood out to
star,
me.
comic book characters. They spit blood.
That was awesome.
It's awesome.
As a kid, you're like,
Like it's
"Whoa."
entertainment. Like, do they make the best music? I don't know. Yeah, obviously some people think so, but
Mhm.
They had their own movie
Yep.
shot
Yeah.
at Magic Mountain.
yeah, they're in
I used
Scooby
to
Doo.
love that movie.
Scooby Doo. So I got to give props to that. That's kind of cool.
Ace and Peter made some
Remember that
great
movie?
music. I love Kiss.
What's with the mouth?
Yeah, I mean, like we were talking about earlier.
remember
I got
that
something
movie?
earlier. Like, I'm jealous of like people that age who got
Yep.
to see Kiss come out. Like that would have blown my mind. These
Yeah.
guys who are just like spitting blood and the
Yeah.
devil and the
We got
Starman
Ted right
and
here.
the cat.
Yeah.
Right here.
Yep.
One of
mean,
those kids.
Dude, me
I'm
and you,
still a kid.
Me and Billy saw him, and I thought we were
Go
gonna
fuck
die.
yourself.
We were on the floor, general admission, and they're like, "You wanted the best, you got." And dude, the whole floor shoved to the stage.
Yeah.
I was like, "I'm gonna die."
And then
Yeah.
your lungs
Which
collapse.
venue was
Yeah.
that at?
yeah, this was in Little Rock. A place called, it was like a coliseum, and it just like I was like, "Yeah, this is it. Goodbye. I'm gonna die."
It
at
was like a
Kiss
stampede.
concert.
Goodbye.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you remember that, Billy?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I thought,
Were you
I
like,
thought
what-
you definitely died. You disappeared, dude. I don't
Oh.
know where you
I
went.
got
Reincarnation.
I was just like
Like, what did you
smashed
do? Did you
between
just
people.
kinda run
I
with
couldn't
them?
breathe.
Like,
Dude, I'm serious. I could not breathe.
Wow, that's scary.
I was like, Billy,
It was the Kiss
Wow.
Army. We were surrounded by the Kiss Army.
Oh my
yeah,
God.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Kiss fans can be hardcore too. I used to work with a guy that
Well,
was like
here's
wore a Kiss shirt
why
every
that
day to
happened.
work.
Why that happened was there was an opener who was so fucking
Terrible.
Terrible.
Oh,
that
really?
the audience they were enraged.
They were
They were going
booing
to rip
him.
this guy to shreds.
Who
so
was
like
it?
by
Was
the
it?
time Kiss came on,
Wasn't
these
it
people were pissed.
Was it Johnny? What was it, Billy?
Johnny Bravo?
Johnny,
Oh,
oh my
jeez.
Johnny
God.
Bravo.
No,
This
you
guy
kidding?
was terrible.
Yeah, I'm serious.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
I think it was a
Never
joke.
heard about that.
I don't know.
It's like a cartoon.
Yeah, I thought that was a cartoon.
That's
It was-
crazy,
it,
dude.
was awful. It was really
Wow.
bad.
I wonder if I was a child if it would have been an album that my mom would try to take away from me like she did Guns N' Roses.
Oh my
Just
gosh,
from the
yeah.
cover alone, be like, "What is this shit?"
I remember my mom found Guns N' Roses the album. it wasn't the cover. It was when she opened it up and it had the girl like with her shirt getting ripped
Yeah.
off.
That was the
My mom
original.
was so mad.
That was the original
Oh.
cover art.
Wow.
Oh, that was
Yeah.
gonna be on the front.
Yeah, that
Conservative,
was, and
you know.
I can't remember if they released it, but they pulled it. And like Geffen made them change it to the skull or the cross skull.
Yep.
Oh wow.
But yeah, that the machine like raping that.
Yeah,
woman.
like on the sidewalk.
Yeah,
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
my mom.
That was the
found
original cover
like,
art.
She was like, "What are you doing with
Sign
this?"
of the
Like,
times.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I-
exactly.
Dude, look,
I was like 9 years
if
old.
you see your kid with that album cover, you're like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is this garbage?
Yeah, what the hell are you watching or looking at or listening to?
It's the devil's
Yeah, I remember. I think the very first Kiss album that I got was the Kiss Alive tour, the one that opened up,
Yep.
and it had Gene Simmons in the front. He's like bleeding in his like. I remember walking up to that record and going, "Oh my god, this is like the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my life." Because I liked
Yeah, you're like, what is
horror
this?
movies and shit like that, so that kind of spoke to me.
I get
Yeah.
it.
It's
I get it. I
crazy.
mean, that again, that's what
Yeah.
I like about
Yeah.
Kiss is like the spitting blood, the
Mhm.
huge high heels, the comic book.
pyrotechnics
Yeah, they're
and-
over the top.
Yeah.
Like it's
It's a show. I
Yeah.
mean,
it is a show.
Even
I mean,
if you don't like the music, you'll be entertained by
Exactly.
they're spitting fire.
What's on
and-
stage,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Gene Simmons was doing that shit.
Yeah.
It's great.
I mean, this was at the height of disco, and then this band, this crazy rock band, you know, with like this crazy makeup. I didn't know what kabuki was at the time, but that's what's kind of themed after.
Yeah.
It's-
You're like,
that's
holy
my-
shit, this.
Have you
I
ever
don't
heard
know
of
what
a
this is, but I
Japanese
think
band?
it's cool.
There's a Japanese band, Ted, that's kind of inspired by Kiss.
Oh, really?
I don't remember their name because it's,
I don't
it's, in
know.
Ja-
It's called Spit.
it's Japanese, but they had a video game on the Famicom like back in the 80s. But they're very they're metal and they all wear like kabuki makeup,
Wow.
Pretty cool.
and it's kind of like Kiss. But
Who did
Yeah.
you meet? Ace
I'll
Frehley?
text you that after
I met Ace Frehley.
Yeah.
later tonight.
Took your picture.
Yeah.
Why don't you take a picture of wrestling?
Okay, that's my number 3.
That was. I think that was
Nice.
the Halloween premiere where he fell asleep.
Is he still alive?
Was that
Ace
the same
Frehley?
night?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
Oh,
still
what a
alive?
great night.
I think so. Yeah, you fell asleep,
got a
got a
great-
nap,
I
got
got a
to meet
great
your
nap.
idol.
Was he at the Halloween? Was that him?
Yeah, I
Really?
think it was Halloween when we
Holy
went to that
shit.
movie.
I got the best nap of my life.
Wait, was that
And
the
you-
first or the
And he
second
met
one?
Ace Frehley. That's awesome.
Was it?
It was,
Ted-
it was the first one.
Ted was
first
literally
one.
snoring, dude.
Yeah, it was
That's
bad.
how
Yeah.
deep he got into sleep that
Yeah.
day. I remember.
Hey, at least you got to meet Ace Frehley.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rob, for that restful night.
All right, Brett, what do you got for number 3?
Number 3 has not been mentioned yet.
Ooh.
If anyone wants to take a guess, I'm going to give the date.
All right, I'll get it.
Released on September 29th, 1992.
Alice in Chains.
STP.
Ooh, good
Yes,
guess, Billy.
that's it.
Good guess.
Core.
Core from Stone Temple
Dude, I
Pilots.
didn't even think about STP.
I'm going to
Yeah.
go take a bathroom break. I'll be right
Yeah,
back.
George is out.
Produced 5 hit singles: "Dead and Bloated," "Wicked Garden," "Sex Type Thing," "Plush," and "Creep."
Dead and Bloated's
Debuted
great.
on the Billboard 200 the week of January 9th, 1993. Peaked at number 3 the week of July 10th, 1993. Ended up spending 113 weeks on the Billboard 200 chart. Didn't drop off till March 11th, 1995.
Wow, really?
Yeah,
That's
like more than
crazy.
2 years later. Like that's insane. But that's
Okay.
testament to how.
I mean, I think that was kind of like Appetite. It was a slow burn where, like, and
Yeah.
then it like gained all this,
Yeah, because I
acclaim.
think the peak is like, when is it? July. Almost a year after the album actually dropped.
How many
is when it
times do you
peaked.
see them live?
13.
3 times, I
yeah,
think.
Yeah. I mean, I'm happy that I got to see him. Obviously before he passed.
Oh, I'm very
They were
happy I
awesome
did.
live.
Yeah.
They were a great live band.
I think I told the
Nice.
story. I was at the show. It was Weenie Roast 2001.
Was he in a dress?
He was wearing like leather, like a S&M
Oh,
outfit,
okay.
and like someone threw a water ball and it hit him, and he got so fucking mad at the
Oh.
crowd. It was insane.
I mean, I get it. You're on stage. Like,
Yeah, but
I hate people who do
that
shit,
album,
dude.
that's a great album.
Animals.
yeah.
Yeah.
Part of me wanted to rank this one actually a little higher, and I'm kind of maybe I should have. I don't know.
Take
Now
two.
now you hate yourself.
Because this album came out right like when I was 14, just turned 14.
What year did it come out? Brett?
92.
90. Okay.
End of 92, like fall 92.
I was 40.
Oh God.
Fuck you.
So I was just
I
getting
graduated high
in, like
school.
just getting into high school. So this album had a
Wow.
lot of impact on me.
Ted
you
got
know.
the senior discount when he bought the album.
Whoa.
Ted was buying Moons Over
Ted-
Miami. at
yeah,
Denny's.
Ted was getting the Grand Slam.
with his senior discount.
Rudy Tootie.
AARP
IHOP.
card, please.
Yeah, I remember seeing what was it was a Sex Type Thing.
Uh-huh.
Like that video, I was like, oh, these dudes are like hard rock. Like
Yeah.
like he looked like he was like aggressive and like
Yeah.
You know,
They
I'm like,
definitely
oh, I
seemed
don't
like
know
a
if I really
different
like
band
this
than
band
what they
or not.
became.
Yeah.
Then you see Plush and you're like, oh,
Yeah,
okay,
his-
these guys aren't like like a hard rock. They're
Meathead,
like a rock band.
Yeah.
Yeah, like their first album, and I think I've read stories like before the first album even came out. Like Scott Weiland was more like a jock kind of guy.
He looked like a
and he had a
meathead
shaved head.
kinda
He was
dude.
kind of muscular.
Yeah.
And then totally like
remember
by the
that.
time the second album came out, he would change like, you know.
Yeah.
He was a
Yeah,
different
I was like, is
person.
this like jock rock kind of stuff?
Yeah. But
Did I just make
that
No.
album,
Yeah.
that
People
album,
say jock rock,
I
don't
think
they?
for me, there's only a couple of albums, maybe 4 albums I can think of where from beginning to end, I love every single track.
Okay.
Core is one of them
yeah,
for me.
it's a great album.
Right,
So
George?
that's,
Yeah.
that's my number.
George, what's your favorite track off that
I
album?
love it. Fuck. It's too many. I can't think of one just off the top of my
He's
head.
speechless. He can't
I
say words.
I could hear his voice right now. Yeah.
Now, do you actually? I have a question because I'm not a huge fan of. I don't like Kiss
Yeah, yeah.
really. I'm
You
not.
son
I
of a
can't say I'm a
bitch.
fan of Kiss.
Yeah.
But I don't hate them. Do you hate STP or are
No,
you
I
just
don't
not a
hate
fan
them.
of them?
I'm just not a fan of them.
So it's like
I think it's a voice thing. A
Take-
while
take
It
or
is.
leave
We
it.
had this discussion
Yeah,
before.
yeah,
The
yeah.
I just don't.
And I get that with Eddie Vedder. I
Yeah.
get that with Wild. They don't bother me. I enjoy both those bands, but
Sure.
I can understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like that
subjective.
album. I don't think there's a bad song on that album. It's one of my honorable mentions. I went back and listened to it. They have so many good albums. I feel like Cracker Man would be my favorite
Wow.
track on the album just because it's such a kick-ass song.
I love Dead and Bloated, man. That is
Um,
just
but-
right out the gate.
Yeah.
So good.
I mean, dude, I
Wicked Garden
love
is-
I
yeah,
love
that's
the
great.
plush acoustic version that they used to show on MTV,
Yeah.
and
Right.
like they'll play it sometimes on the radio.
Yeah.
I love that version of it because it sounds he has such a good voice, you know, and it's such a good song. And I know plush is like overdone, but
Yeah.
the acoustic, yeah,
I mean, that's how they
where
got
it
big.
is.
They've definitely
Song
been the
man.
radio like sweethearts for the last 30.
I remember I
30
bought
plus
that
years,
Crow
but-
soundtrack just for that STP song.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
It's a great soundtrack.
That's a
but
great soundtrack.
I
Yeah.
revisited STP
Man.
recently. I told you guys, and they just have some great records.
Yeah.
And that
Good- just
that
good
first
rock
one's great.
songs.
Yeah.
yeah.
I can.
All
you know,
right.
I can honestly say 100% that they are definitely not on my honorable mentions.
Oh,
All
Just
right. Well,
kidding.
George, what do you have for your number 3 then?
Okay, my number 3 was released November 9th, 1993, and they boast 10 members.
Oh, I know what it is.
10 members?
It's Enter the Chamber.
Yes.
That's a great.
Big Bad
36
Voodoo Daddy.
chambers.
Big Bad
36
Voodoo
chambers.
Daddy.
Yep. Enter the Wu-Tang.
Again, what Brett was saying earlier, how Brett and I grew up listening to West Coast rap and how they were all just gangster rap, and it was,
well-
it was. This album came out, it blew my fucking mind. I was like, what? The 10 members, each one of them have a
Own
very
personality.
Personality,
sound,
like a
it's
character.
true. It's true.
Yeah, and it was awesome, dude. It was like,
Well, that first video is like black and white,
Yeah.
like down and dirty and raw feeling. It's like, who are
Well,
these
yeah.
dudes?
And
Like,
I liked it because they're, them doing the whole, Shaolin monk.
Yeah.
like,
kung fu
Ooh, yeah.
stuff.
kung fu
They-
stuff.
like
It was
karate.
just like something like George said you hadn't seen.
Yeah.
That
it was refreshing. It
before.
was loud. It was new. It was just
Very
raw.
gritty.
Look
Yeah.
what shows how great that group was. Look how many solo artists came out of Wu-Tang.
Oh yeah.
True.
And had successful solo
Absolutely.
careers.
Yeah.
Maybe 6 out of the 10 or
Yeah.
5 out of the 10. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
amazing. And that sound again, it was that
ODB,
new
R.I.P.
East Coast
I love ODB.
rap sound where lots of bass and just
Mhm.
heavy on.
That's a good point because at that point, most of my favorite rap albums at that point were all from the West Coast.
Yeah.
And then that one was totally from the East Coast, but I loved it just as much.
That's
Yeah, me
from
too.
that's
This-
from my hood.
I almost made this on my top 5. It was going to be my number 5, but
Well,
I left it off.
I know we talked
last
about
minute.
this earlier, like a couple weeks ago, where we were saying how in the '90s that hip hop era was just so huge and it was
Yeah.
like new and it in the beginning it didn't start off that like East Coast West Coast versus bullshit. It was just
Right.
different sounds coming
Right.
out
Mhm.
and that
Different parts of the country
Yeah.
had their own sound.
Yeah, there was no rivalry
Dirty South
at
had
that
their
time.
sound. There
But
wasn't-
again, like all that East Coast, West Coast. I mean,
It's
it
manufactured.
was manufactured.
Yeah,
It was
I think so.
all- Of course.
Yeah,
All
100%.
for money, and then
And I
went
bought
down-
into it.
Yeah, everybody did.
I mean, I think in the when that album came out, or even just before that, probably like 91, 92, I don't think there was like a whole East Coast versus West Coast
There
yet.
wasn't, yeah.
There was.
You could tell listening to albums that there was definitely a distinct difference in how they were produced and
Yeah,
mixed and everything and what they were rapping about.
Mhm.
But there wasn't like a feud or anything. That wasn't until it was probably like 94, 95 when that started coming to it.
Just recently, I heard an interview with Ice-T where he said that that bullshit, everyone was jockeying for position, and that's how it kind of happened. But before that,
I agree.
everyone they were helping each other out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
Ice Cube went to
Yeah.
New York when he left NWA to get different producers to help him release his solo album.
Yeah.
like he had Public Enemy help
Sure.
him and guys like that.
Yeah.
Right.
It was just about
helping each other out
Yeah.
and producing this new sound, this next sound.
Mhm.
You know,
We I'm from New York, and we did not subscribe to that East Coast West Coast thing. I remember that day that Fuck the Police came out and going to the record store. Like everybody was so hyped for that.
Yeah.
They're like, we're gonna go to the record store. You got to check out this new single, man. It was hype.
yeah, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
the cussing and shit, and you're like, wow, they're
Yeah,
cussing
fuck
on
the
an album?
police,
Yeah,
what?
holy
Dude,
fuck.
yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, Wu-Tang was like that. They came out and it was just a fresh sound, and
This album, I can't remember where it was recorded at, but they didn't have a lot of money, obviously.
No,
when
they
same
didn't.
with the, same with the,
Yeah.
the
They-
music videos.
I've heard stories where they actually had to like take turns. It was so small, the studio they recorded in, which I think was it New York City. It was
Mhm.
recorded.
Yeah.
It was so small; it only fit, I
Brooklyn
think,
Zoo.
7 people or something. So they had to take turns, and like they'd have to figure out who could be in the
Yeah, in the
studio.
booth, yeah.
At the
Like
time.
some guys had to like be out in the lobby of
Oh,
the
shit.
studio.
there's a
Too many
documentary
members.
right now. I can't remember on what
Oh, I
channel.
wanna see it.
Paramount Plus.
Oh,
or-
yeah,
Oh,
you're right.
my
The
God,
I can't remember what
yeah.
it is. I saw a billboard of it the other day leaving
All right.
work, and I want to check it out.
The other thing, though,
Me too.
because the budget was so low, I think that helped the album because it sounds really like
Raw,
very
yeah,
like
gritty
low, low,
like
Yeah.
16 millimeter.
Not a
film
lot of-
type
Yeah,
raw,
yeah,
where
yeah.
it's just
yeah. Like the production values are low, but that actually I think helped the album tremendously. Like,
100%.
Cash rules everything around me. Cream, get the money. Dollar, dollar bill, y'all.
Yeah, and that's
There it
my
is.
number 3.
There it is.
Sorry, I had to go look up who you guys are talking about. I have
Get
no
out
idea.
of here.
I don't know who.
You know what's a
Wu-Tang is.
great
I'm sorry.
debut album is that ODB album. That's
Yeah.
that's a awesome.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, that's
was his
great.
debut on the one that had the song "Hey, DB, give me all your money,"
That's
or something
terrible.
about money?
No, that's it. Yeah.
No, that was on the second album.
Yeah. Shimmy Shimmy Ya is I think the big hit from,
Oh.
from the first one.
Yeah.
Nice.
Great song.
All right.
Number 2 for me, it's fun talking about music, man. I feel like, you kind of do soul searching, going back and thinking about music that influenced you as a person, and
Yep.
then it's kind of set a trajectory for music that you listen to in life. And going back, I was thinking about records I owned as a child, like Disco Duck, Super
Oh,
2 soundtrack,
Ray Stevens?
like
Rick Dees?
like
Rick
cartoon
Dees, yeah.
albums. But the first album that I fell in love with, the first band that I fell in love with, and it changed my musical tastes forever, and I have such a nostalgia for this era of music. This album was released on the 15th of June in 1981 by EMI, reached number 3 on the UK charts, remained in the UK
Can I
top
guess?
100 for 118 weeks. Yeah, you can guess.
June 15th, 81. Is it? It's not Depeche Mode, is it?
Huey Lewis in the
No.
News.
Oh, I know who it is. It's Duran Duran.
Oh,
Duran
yeah, that's
Duran.
probably it.
Yep.
Oh man.
Self-titled Duran
Oh,
Duran.
yes.
And man, during
Great.
COVID, this is one of the albums that I would go for walks and listen to. And man, I could it's like you transform into where you were sitting on a couch
Oh, it's so
watching
nice.
television, listening to an album. And I remember things that I haven't thought about in a while, like being a kid and the places I used to hang out and
Yeah.
listening to this, my old childhood home.
It's great.
I mean,
Yeah.
it brought me back a lot of memories. This is such a great album. Again, a great first track, Girls on Film.
Great.
Planet Earth, Anyone Out There, Is There Something I Should Know,
Mhm.
Night Boat, Friends of Mine. I mean, it's such an influential album. You talked about the Killers. You talked about a lot of other bands that, had that Duran Duran inspiration. They were
Mhm.
they were the biggest thing on MTV for a
A
while.
long while.
And
for sure.
this album is I think their debut album just kicked it off in motion.
Yep.
It's a
I
great
Fab
album.
Five.
I think Duran Duran helped MTV,
Oh, for
kind of
sure.
catapult
Oh
them.
yeah.
Their videos for
Yeah.
sure did.
One of the top. Yeah, for sure.
Ooh,
one
that-
of the bands that
Sorry.
did it.
Yes.
Well, I think it's also because MTV didn't have anything when they first launched, so they were looking for a lot of English acts because they had videos. So Duran Duran was one of the pioneers of those videos.
Oh, yeah.
They
some
had
of their
fun
videos,
videos.
they couldn't show at night because they had nude women in them and stuff.
Mhm. Yeah, the Girls on Film original video I think was banned on MTV.
I love
Yeah.
that video.
What was that
'Cause there
one
was,
where they were on a
nudity.
boat and the girls were topless?
Rio.
That's
Yeah.
the one. And yeah, they had a cut.
All their videos had
Yeah.
girls in them, models and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, they it's such a great album, man. It's
is.
funny how music can take you back to certain places, and that was
Definitely.
definitely my,
Do you know
my
the
first
story about
album that I owned.
Machines.
Do you know the story about this album in terms of UK
No.
and US? So it came out in the UK in 81, and then they weren't real big here yet. And then Rio came out, and Rio got big here in the US.
Yeah.
So they re-released their first album, and that's when they added Is There Something I Should Know to the first album and re-released
Okay.
it with that song in 83. And then so it got big in America actually after Rio.
Oh,
even though it was
shit.
big
Love
in the
Duran
UK.
Duran.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funky.
Still not in the Hall of Fame.
It's dancey.
Are they
Still in the
not?
Hall of Fame.
That's a
They aren't?
fucking joke.
No,
Really?
Depeche Mode got in last year, and I was like, how the hell did Depeche Mode get in without Duran Duran getting in first?
agree.
I mean, they both
Dude.
came out the same year, 81, but yeah, that's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
I feel like Duran Duran actually
Yeah, they're
should
just
have
as
gone
big,
in definitely
if not
first.
bigger.
I'd
Right?
prefer Duran Duran over Depeche Mode, to be honest with you.
I love
Oh,
both
for
bands.
sure.
They should
Yeah.
both be in, but
Oh yeah, obviously, but no, I'm good.
Yeah,
Keep
but-
them out.
That's crazy.
I will say Depeche, but it doesn't matter that Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Depeche Mode's done more like rock albums. Like they have a couple that are more like
Yeah.
actual like rock, but like
Yeah.
that's
That's
crazy that they're not in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's
Well,
cra-
yeah,
you know-
like you said, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame sucks.
That's-
Yeah,
we're so
I mean,
lucky.
they're big.
dude.
I mean, they were as big as you can get
Yeah.
with Michael Jackson, Madonna, Prince.
did they
were up
vote? They
there with
vote on
music
that, right?
videos.
Like a committee or something.
yeah,
votes
a
on
bunch
it?
of.
I don't
Well,
like
that's
it.
the thing. It's like, who is in charge
So
of
who's
this?
Yeah.
voting?
Yeah,
Like-
exactly.
Because you get some weird shit where you're like, who really? They're in the. Oh God. Okay.
Like I feel like the last
Well,
few
you
years
know,
there's been some.
yeah,
bands that are
Tupac
like-
is in, Biggie's in. It's like, what?
Yeah.
I don't agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. It's technically not rock.
No.
Yeah.
I think they deserve to be in there, but there's other people who came earlier that still
Before them.
Yeah,
that still
I
aren't-
think they
that
deserve to be in
yeah,
there.
that
just
still aren't
maybe
in
not
there.
before
Yeah.
other bands. Yeah.
Wayne Newton.
Foo
Yeah.
Fighters got in last year. To me, that's
Who?
not right. Anyway,
Foo
that's
Fighters.
for a later
You
discussion.
don't think Foo Fighters deserve to be in Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Not yet. No.
Oh wow.
I
They've
get
got
it
a
because
long
they're still
catalog.
active and they like their
Yeah.
first album was only 20 years ago, 25 years ago.
But still, I mean, you have. I think that
You got
what's the-
Duran
what's
Duran.
the start? Is
They've
it 20?
40 years ago.
20 is what you have to be
20 years,
eligible.
yeah.
Okay.
Is it
Dude,
20 years?
Foo
Okay.
Fighters
My
are better
God,
than
they've
Duran
been around
Duran.
20
20 years. That's
years?
crazy.
95 was
That is
their
not-
debut.
yeah, you're right.
Wow.
Wow, wow, wee, wow.
Wow, wow. All right, Brad, what do you got for number 2?
My number 2 is it's sold 30 million copies so far. It's one of the best-selling albums of all time.
Do you have a release date?
I do, my friend. It is July 21st, 1987.
Oh, I
it's,
know. It's already been named.
I don't
Hasn't it?
know.
Wait,
has,
Maybe
it has
this will
been.
give you a hint.
Yes, it's already been named.
The original guitarist.
It has.
The original guitarist was Tracy Guns. He left the band, then Slash took his spot.
There you go.
I love Appetite. I
Yeah.
absolutely love
LA
this
Guns.
album. I love Guns
Oh.
N' Roses.
I'm shocked this isn't your number one.
You can probably guess what my number 1 is, but
Yeah.
here, let
I'm
me-
sure Brad fought in his head which one is 2
I
and
did.
1.
I did.
Yep.
I've loved these bands since I was a kid. I still love these. I still see. Well,
Brad rocks the T-shirt
one of
every
these-
once in a while. I
do.
see it all the
You
time.
know what's coming. So here's the track list:
The
Welcome
Who?
to the Jungle, It's So Easy, Night Train, Out to Get Me, Mr. Brownstone, Paradise City, My Michelle, Think About You, Sweet Child of Mine, You're Crazy, Anything Goes, Rocket Queen.
Come on.
They still
dude,
play
really?
these songs live.
Yeah.
Probably playing them tonight as we speak.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just goes to show that they're timeless. They're just kick-ass rock songs. Guns N' Roses.
It's
Appetite for Destruction.
one long song to me. It's like every track leads into the next track, and it's like one complete.
It's a
piece of
rockin'-
art.
It's a rocking album.
yeah.
Dude, Welcome to the Jungle is one of my workout songs when I'm not fat and
Yeah,
bloated.
dude.
but
Any sporting event, you're gonna
I want to
hear
hear
Welcome
that
to the
song,
Jungle.
dude. It pushes
Sure
you.
you
It
will.
makes you
Before
want to go.
kickoff at a game, it's like
100%.
yeah,
Yeah.
get you pumped.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I'm not tired of Welcome to the Jungle. I'm tired of Paradise City, but I'm not tired of Welcome to
No,
the Jungle. I still hear it.
never.
And I still
And dude,
love
you
it.
probably
Never.
heard Jungle more than Paradise City.
True
Are you,
story.
are you tired of Sweet Child of Mine, or are you okay with that one still?
It's all right.
Dude,
Yeah,
you know-
in the
you
middle.
know-
Yeah, it's
that
for
one
the
has
it's
its
for the
place.
ladies.
It has its place.
You know,
as a rockin',
The ladies love it.
Probably like
Sweet
number
Child of
2
Mine.
song off this album for
they
me
love
is
it. Oh,
It's So Easy.
Oh,
It's So Easy is freaking great.
Mhm.
You saw Velvet Revolver play It's So Easy.
Yeah,
didn't-
yeah.
Yeah, Weiland
Yeah, they're
would cover
good.
that sometimes.
Did they?
Good
See
stuff,
that
man. My
live is
Michelle?
awesome.
Yeah.
good
I
stuff.
bet.
No, my favorite track on Appetite is Rocket Queen.
Mhm.
Great song.
It's a great song.
Queen. Oh yeah.
Good
That was a
stuff,
good
man.
year, 87.
87.
Like you couldn't turn on the radio for like a good 6 months to 8 months. No, probably longer, like a year, without hearing Guns N' Roses.
Yeah.
Like
But
they were
again,
on
like
every
we- like we were
station.
talking
What a
about, this
good
was a
time,
slow.
man.
Could be hard rock.
This was
Could
a
be
slow
top 40.
start.
Like what's that?
This album was not successful when it was first released. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't until that video kind of started gaining momentum that
Yeah.
first
Yeah.
studio album. Their first one
Yeah.
was Live Like a Suicide, which was, I guess,
I
kinda
didn't
like an
appreciate
EP.
them till it was way like maybe 5-10 years after that
Yeah,
album
yeah.
came out. Then I started listening to that and was like, holy shit.
Just came out and
Yeah.
kicked you in the
Yeah,
nuts.
it did.
Kicked you in the teeth.
Yeah.
I got
Kick
it.
you
I
in
mean,
the
you know,
front
this
teeth.
was,
Did.
this was probably like 6th grade for me. Like bands had come out. I talked about Bon Jovi. They weren't that rock. But up
was
until
32.
then, there wasn't a band
in
that came out and
college.
just kicked you in the teeth.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that was like, holy shit,
Yeah.
this band.
Like
Who
these
the
guys
fuck
are.
are these guys?
It was the first band where my mom took the fucking album away. She's like,
Rough.
"Oh,
I'm
you're
telling
not
you, I had the
listening
same
to this."
thing
Yeah.
happen.
It was
Like,
because,
my mom
like
was like
you said,
pissed.
Brett, that artwork, that was it. She'd had it.
Artwork and the language didn't help. There's a lot of F words on that album.
I don't think my mom didn't actually listen to it. Like,
Swear
or I was
words.
listening to the songs that were on the radio, so she didn't hear the cursing, but she saw the artwork one day.
Yeah.
PMRC.
Like,
But dude, like,
where'd you get this?
you turn it over in the back, it's like Slash passed out with a fifth of Jack Daniels. Like, who are these dudes? Like, these are some dudes you'd see in the back of your alley, like, behind your house.
That's totally what it looked like.
Number 2, Appetite.
Great.
All right. Ted, number 2.
So as a lot of you might know or don't know,
A lot of
I'm a
yous.
guitarist. and I
he
played
is.
guitar for a
He
long
does.
time. I started when I was about 13 years old,
Wow.
listening to rock music.
1962.
Couple of son of a bitch.
Find those YouTube videos.
My 2 favorite guitarists of all time. One of them is in this. Number 2. You
What's the
probably
date?
don't know.
What's the date? Give me the release date.
April 21st, 1987.
April 21st, 1987?
You won't get this one.
Rush.
No.
The name of the band is.
Extreme.
Wait.
Come on.
I'll
just-
give you the name of the guitarist. That you
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
won't even get it.
Give me the name of the guitarist.
Alex Skolnick.
I don't know.
I
don't know.
It's fine. It's fine.
Hold on.
The band is Testament.
Oh, okay.
So
At least you represent bands that most of us wouldn't.
Exactly.
You know,
Props to
I'm
you,
a big
bro.
metal fan.
You bring the metal.
So
You bring the metal,
You probably
Ted.
all know. Yeah, I'm bringing the metal tonight because
did.
everybody
Represent.
knows
He
that my
said that in the
favorite
beginning.
my favorite metal band of all time is Metallica.
Mm-hmm.
But these guys were like the second wave of that genre of type of music.
I know what your
and they are, and they, no, you won't. Or maybe you will. So it's called The Legacy. It was recorded in Ithaca, New York, off of Megaforce Atlantic Records, and just every track for this was, killer tracks. Over the Wall, The Haunting, Burnt Offerings, Apocalyptic City,
Those are great names for songs.
It
Yeah.
is.
Curse of
Makes
the
me wanna go
Legions
get
of
this album.
Death,
These could all be horror movie titles.
Yeah.
Disciples
John
of the
Carpenter.
Watch.
Yeah.
Alone in the Dark. They're amazing. Yeah, exactly. A lot of their content was very kind of like dark and morbid. The Haunting was another great track and just excellent.
movie.
What year was it?
excellent,
87?
1987. Yeah.
Yeah, see, I would have been
So-
too young to be able to have access to that.
So this is after Ride the Lightning, and this is shortly after Slayer's Rain and Blood. It was just taking it to another level of like precision. So Kirk Hammett of Metallica had the same guitar teacher.
Did you say Kirk Cameron?
Kirk Hammett
Oh.
had the same guitar teacher as Alex Skolnick. Joe Satriani was their
Is that a real name?
Joe Satriani?
No. Skolnick.
Alex Skolnick, yeah.
Wow.
Okay. It's a pretty
Yes.
cool name.
Yeah.
So they had probably 2 or 3 amazing records, and they kind of fell off. And they're still, obviously an underground thrash metal band
Right.
from the Bay Area from the 80s. Testament, The Legacy.
What would you say to the
1987.
critics that call this false metal?
What the fuck? What'd you just say? So, Testament, The Legacy.
Right
Are they
on.
thrash metal, speed
Thrash
metal?
metals,
Thrash metal.
like easily top 10 record.
Can you play their stuff? Like, you're a guitarist.
I can. I worked a long time at trying to play.
Testament?
It's not easy, yeah, but
What was the album?
The Legacy,
I want to
It's
play it
the
on the way
first-
home right now.
first record.
That's
Yeah.
a testament to your skills that you picked that up and you can
Yes.
play it.
Wow.
Bitch. They're often mistaken for a Christian rock band.
Oh.
Because
But
of their
they
name.
are
They don't
far
cuss?
from it.
Testament sounds like a religious band.
Yes.
They don't
What was
cuss
that?
that
What
way?
was
They
the
do
big
cuss.
Christian
Kinda like
rock band?
Stryper.
Stryper. That was
Stryper,
it.
yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Striper
You can't
and
be
Jars
a
of
band
Clay.
and have a
They're not
song
Stryper.
called
Remember,
Devil
Jars of
with
Clay?
the Devil.
The Bullet Boys. Remember Bullet Boys?
Remember POD
Yeah.
from San Diego? They're,
Yeah.
they were,
They
they were
were
Christian.
religious.
Yeah, we didn't know that either.
I remember
was like, what
POD.
the fuck?
So Testament, The Legacy.
All
My
right.
number 2.
Testament is not
Let's go to Mr. Brett for number 2.
My number 2, already mentioned a couple times, I believe, is 10 from Pearl Jam.
Yeah.
Oh,
Dave. Oh,
no,
real quick.
Good.
Yeah.
Little trivia.
I'll give
Take
my
your
little
time, take your
debut
time, bro.
Billboard trivia.
Oh, here we go.
Debuted on the Billboard 200 the week of January 4th, 1992, which was 6 months after it already had been out. So this is another one of those albums, Brad, where it like took word of mouth
Yeah.
for a while. Peaked at number 2 for the week of August 22nd, 1992. So almost exactly a year after it dropped, it peaked.
Crazy.
And then would spend 250 weeks on the Billboard 200
That's
before it dropped
nuts.
off. It didn't drop off until the week of October 12th, 1996. Like they had
Damn.
released like 2 or 3 albums at that point before it finally dropped off. That
Yeah,
that
because the
tells
new
you
one
the,
comes out and
Okay.
they go back and buy the first album.
Yeah, but that you mentioned like the album like
How are
it's
they not
their-
in the Rock and Roll Hall of
Is it
Fame?
their high
Pearl
selling?
Jam?
Yeah,
They are.
they are. Okay.
Did you say it's their high selling album
They
of all
were-
time?
Oh, I didn't know that.
What?
Their
I'm sorry,
high
I'm sorry,
selling
It
album.
is.
It is.
Yeah, it makes sense because 250 weeks on the Billboard 200. I mean, that's fucking
It's a
like
lot. It's a
5
lot.
years almost. it was
Damn,
almost
dude.
Wow,
over
that is
5
a lot.
years.
Holy shit.
August 91 to October, or sorry, January 92 to October 96.
Wow.
That's almost
Holy
5
shit.
years.
It is. That's how good it is.
Yoink.
Some impact, yo.
I think didn't David Letterman induct them into the Rock and
I
Roll
don't
Hall of
know.
Fame? Billy? No.
Was he a big fan of theirs?
He did. Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think they didn't play in his last show. Those Foo Fighters. They played like one the next to last. I think
They went in, like, 3
I
years
think it was
ago?
Eddie Vedder.
I think it was 3 years ago they
Yeah, it
went
might
in,
have been.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was 3 years ago.
2017 maybe.
Or maybe 4 years ago, yeah.
20. No, it was the year before COVID, 2018, I think.
Oh really?
And Duran still not in.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
What a catastrophe!
No, it's just
All
2017.
right, George, number 2.
Unfortunately, number 2 has already been mentioned. Little trivia, though. It's considered one of the biggest rock bands of the 21st century and most successful act to ever emerge from Nevada, selling more than 28 million records worldwide. Killers, Hot Fuss.
Yeah.
It's a good
Wow,
record.
album-
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a good one.
Nice.
That album, to me, I don't know why. I fought putting it so low because of all the other albums that are on there, because I'm like a huge hip-hop head. But that album, it impacted me in such a weird way. Like, I had gone through like this weird breakup, and buying this album, it fucking broke me out. It was crazy.
change.
Yeah, it almost like it
was just-
introduced me to another genre of music that I
Sure.
wasn't aware of. Like, I wasn't into that type of music at the time, because all I would listen to at that time was either hip hop or stuff like Nine Inch Nails, Rage Against the Machine, Cypress Hill,
Harder.
stuff like. And this album, for some reason, it woke me up. It was
It's amazing.
really weird.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
But
It
again,
came
it
at
goes
the right
back to-
time in your life where you
Yeah.
were like,
Yeah, I was
willing to,
down in the
like-
dumps and shit, and was like not really into shit. And
Yeah.
then this album, I bought it just on a whim. The name, The Killers. I was like,
Yeah.
fuck. Let's
I wonder
buy this.
do you know when
And,
you bought
dude,
it?
It was crazy.
Do you remember when? I wonder if you might have bought it before it was actually big because it was out for.
I think I bought it at Tower, like at one of the Tower Records.
Okay.
And the Tower Records had like these graffiti magazines from England that I would buy from the UK, and I would buy these magazines. They'd come out every couple months.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw that album, and it was just like The Killers. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And I was
Yeah.
like, you know what? And again, like I've always said this, I'm like huge into like visuals.
Yeah.
And that's what attracts me to albums. It's like the artwork and
yeah.
the poster. Oh, they're like these huge posters, and so I bought this album and I played it, and it just brought me out of my funk. It was fucking amazing. Like the dude's, like we were saying earlier, how his vocals, like how it's awesome.
It's awesome.
Great album.
Wow. Killers getting a lot of
Yeah.
A lot of
hype
love. A
tonight.
lot of love tonight.
I
lot of
honestly
love
didn't
tonight.
know if that was going to be on anyone else.
And I'm
I thought
bummed
it
that
would
I've
be, but
I've never saw him live, and it's one of the bands that I want to go see.
They're great
I
live.
you know,
they still
They
are
still
putting
tour.
out new
They still
music.
tour.
They have a new album coming out, I think,
Yeah.
this next year.
but is
Oh, wow.
isn't like two of the
On
they're like
K-Rock.
two different.
I mean, as long as you have Brandon Flowers,
Yeah.
you're good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
it's at least two of the guys of the original.
Yeah, I
Okay,
believe so.
That's what I remember reading, and God,
The
again,
real tall guys.
I still have
in the
this.
band,
I have the CD in my car still.
Yeah.
It's
That's
in my
cool.
car, and I play it every once in a while.
CD.
Yeah, I know.
Me too, man. I'm old school. I guess
So am I.
Nice.
I don't have space on my phone.
I ain't got no time for no phone. Although I have recently discovered Spotify, thanks to my
Spotify's
wife.
great. Yeah.
And holy shit, dude, you can play any
Yep,
fucking
that's
song
what I do.
at any
Spotify's
time.
great.
It's
Yeah.
dude.
You know what the greatest
Fuck
things on
iTunes.
Spotify is? Our podcast.
Yeah.
It's on
my
Spotify.
God. Find it there, motherfuckers.
Plug it.
Dig it.
Yeah, I love Spotify. It's great.
Yeah,
you can make
it's awesome.
playlists. You know,
I got my
make
workout
favorite
playlist.
songs.
Oh, that's cool.
I got my
I used to do Pandora. Spotify's
gotta check
way
out the
better than
way
Spotify.
better, dude.
I remember
It's
Pandora.
amazing. What is it like? A couple bucks a month or something like that?
They have
Oh, is
the
it?
free version
I have a
too.
free version.
I've used the free version.
Is that like
I
with
have free-
commercials or
yeah,
something like that?
every
You
once
can
in a while.
only
You
like
can
skip
them.
forward so many
Yeah.
times, I think, before it locks you.
5 or 6.
Yeah.
All right, number 1 for me is an album that's already been said. It's Testament.
Nice.
I know what it is.
I win.
It's Taco.
I win.
Oh, Taco.
Taco's debut.
Go.
I wish it was taco.
I want some tacos.
No, it's actually it's a sandwich, not a taco. No, it's appetite.
Nice.
Oh,
nice.
see, that's a
I
good
mean,
one,
come
dude.
on, man. I mean, you
Little
know,
early,
it's,
little early.
it's rock and roll, man. I mean, that to me like kicked me in the teeth, my
Oof.
young teeth, my
Yeah.
baby
Combat
teeth.
boots.
My baby teeth.
it's
It kicked your baby teeth out, and your adult
And then they
teeth came
grew your
out.
adult teeth.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah! It kicked my baby teeth out and put a fucking bottle of Jack Daniels right in.
Yeah.
Man.
Rough and
I mean, you know,
toothless.
that's rock and roll, baby.
Mm-hmm. But that's our genre. That's our era of rock. That was like a huge, deal back then. Like,
Yeah. Like my buddy's kids the other day were like, "Hey, we want to get some records that you used to listen to," and I straight up was like, "Okay, you got to get Appetite." And then I
see.
was like telling them a couple other albums. I was like, but immediately off the top of my head, I was like, "You got to get this one."
yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
So, yeah.
Have you
Rock
talked
and
to
roll.
him since? Did they listen to it, or you haven't talked to him since?
I don't know if they did, but
Yeah.
I was wondering, like, you know, does it have the same impact to like look at the album now as a kid that's probably
I don't
seen
know.
a million things as
It
opposed to
could.
like
I
when we
think
were
so.
kids?
I
I
we're
think
like,
it could
you know,
because
It's got skulls.
it'd be like
and-
us. It'd be like you, Billy. You were talking about the Doors album. That was
Yeah.
way after we were
Yeah,
born.
or Ted
but
grabbing that
it's
Kiss
still-
album.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think
And
I
Ted
think
was
so.
60 when he got
Yeah,
there.
Come on.
his baby teeth and
What
adult
did you
teeth
say,
were long
Sonny
gone.
Bar?
Dentures.
He had some wooden teeth.
George Washington.
Got that
teeth.
senior discount.
Oh Lord.
Oh my God, it's awesome.
Oh Lord.
We love you, Ted.
Yeah. Appetite.
Oh,
All
thank
right,
you.
Brad, you're number one.
Let's see if you can guess this. Released November 15th, 1986.
It's already been named.
Licensed
Elvis.
to Ill.
Yeah.
Oh
Good one,
You know what? I was gonna say Elvis, but
no, you didn't.
I didn't.
Licensed
But
to
you
Ill.
did it.
But that's because our list is so small, dude. We only got 5 picks. Come on,
yeah.
man.
And I
Yeah.
feel like the
You
songs.
left the building.
Yeah, exactly. You did.
Yeah.
Well, and that album didn't have a ton of songs, but anyway,
Exactly.
yeah. To me, like this band is probably my favorite band of all time. There, before and since, there's not a band like the Beastie Boys, and there's just not, and there
No.
won't ever be.
No.
Unfortunately, they can't tour, but there's not
Yeah.
a group of white rappers that extended their career as long as they did and had a sense of humor about it.
Musical
and,
history.
Yeah.
yeah, like we said, look, they were a joke on college frat boys at that time.
Yep.
But dude, there's great 808 beats on that album.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
those songs are awesome.
I
Like,
love the
there's-
80s.
like I said, I still like Paul's and other albums I think better over time, but yeah, definitely Licensed to Ill is just I think it kind of like cements in you like in your childhood of like, oh my god, like this is gonna smell. This is gonna smell. This is it's gonna stick with you if
Oh, yeah.
like
Brett's
if
fart.
it it made an impact
100%.
like
Sticky
like that one
shorts.
from Brett.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Making an impact.
I agree, man. All my friends love that record.
Yeah.
And, played the music videos.
I never
and,
seen anything like that or heard anything like that before.
And there's a gorilla playing the guitar solo
Yes.
in No Sleep Till Brooklyn.
There
So,
is. You know who that was, right?
Kerry King from Slayer.
Boom.
Wow.
Fun
Slayer.
facts.
It's
Did
true.
not
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah, he's right.
Fun facts right
Nice
there.
little
Wow.
fun fact.
But again, like I said, yeah, like videos. They had a sense of they have a gorilla playing.
Didn't he write? He co-wrote a song
Yeah,
on the album,
loved it.
didn't he?
They toured Madonna and they had giant inflatable penises on stage.
Exactly.
Come on.
Who does that? Those poor girls.
I mean, it
those poor
was
teenage girls
fucking
seeing
It was
Madonna.
Madonna.
really
That's who
feel
did
good
that.
music. Like it really made you feel good.
Yeah, still does.
Brought me a lot of
Still does.
happiness.
Takes you back. Chef's kiss.
Oh,
Chef's kiss.
Likes the deal, man. I still love that record.
All right, Ted, number one.
number one is my favorite guitarist's album.
Release date.
Debut album, March 27th, 1981.
I knew it. It's Kill 'Em All.
No, it's Blizzard of Oz
Oh, damn it!
by Ozzy Osbourne.
Disqualified. He was with Black Sabbath for 10 years at that point.
But his career was dead. He had already been replaced.
That's probably true.
And they went out on
left
a
him for
limb.
dead.
They went out on a limb on this record.
Like, drink yourself to death, Ozzy.
Exactly. And
Snort some ants.
he brought it back with this young guitarist named Randy Rhoads.
Randy
my
Rhoads.
favorite. He's my favorite guitarist of all time.
It's great.
I'm passionate about
It
it,
was great.
and I love him.
Oh.
Crazy Train. I don't know. Mr. Crowley. These are great classic songs.
By the
metal.
way-
Metal songs. Goodbye to Romance. I mean, this record had, Ozzy and Randy, and they had Lee Kerslake. Don Airey was their keyboardist, who controversially says that he wrote many of their songs. So We're not sure. We don't know if he did write a lot
Was
of those
this album
songs.
cover with him with like fangs or?
No, you're thinking of the second record,
This one
That's
was
the
Diary-
Ozman Cometh.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Diary of a Madman. This one
No, it
is
was a-
like,
that was
Diarrhea
just
of
kinda
a
like-
Madman.
it's like a
Yeah.
train.
Diarrhea
yeah,
of a
Diary of a
Madman.
Diary of a
Madman.
Madman.
That's what it was.
Diarrhea.
Diarrhea
Of
of
a
a Madman.
Madman.
Oh
Me and my
god.
brother always used
That's
to
what
do that
the album
joke.
stinks.
That's what it
Ew.
smells like right now, Brett.
So I think Ozzy's like kind of like in an attic, like on the floor of this like dusty,
Dusty Roads.
yeah,
Dusty Roads.
Dusty Roads,
Yeah.
What's the name of this?
full circle.
Blizzard of Oz?
Yeah,
of
he's
Oz.
holding
Blizzard
a
of Oz.
cross. He's kind of at an angle. I don't know what he's doing with the cross. Looks
Yeah.
like he's trying to hit somebody with it. I don't know.
Bark at the Moon. The
He's on the
follow-up album?
ground, right? Isn't he like?
Bark at that.
Yeah, he's on
that
the
even on the
floor.
ground?
Like
Oh,
yeah,
floor
yeah,
of
yeah,
something,
yeah.
so.
Okay, yeah.
looks like he's in like the attic of a church
There's
or
a
something. I don't know.
skull.
It's weird.
Yeah,
He
Now-
loves
cool, man.
Yeah.
Was Blizzard
Maybe
of
a
Oz
black
or
cat
Bark at the
behind
Moon?
him.
Which album was the one where like when he like supposedly bit the
Bat
rat's
head?
head or bat
yeah.
head?
That was like a PR story that he
Which
like, went
album was
into
that?
like that was off the first record
That was
actually.
Blizzard of Oz.
Blizzard of
Didn't
Oz.
somebody
Oh,
throw
okay.
something on stage or something?
Yeah, it's
It
like
wasn't- I
stories
don't
like
think it was
someone
planned,
threw like
was
a
it?
bat on stage and like
Yeah.
he bit it and like
It was
got
a myth,
rabies
right?
or something like that.
It was a total myth, like urban legend.
Yeah, those are urban legends.
Yeah.
Although that he did bite the head off of a dove in a A&R office.
Oh yeah.
Jesus.
Very
Oh,
good.
wow.
So he was trying to
this-
make an
this-
impression, and like I guess they were going to release these doves, and like that was like a celebration of like Ozzy and on our record label. But he grabbed the dove and bit the head off.
That's a rock
But he was
star,
like
dude.
totally blasted on cocaine.
I was
for
gonna
the
say,
rest of
he's
his
like
life,
drunk and out of it.
you know,
Head high out of his
God,
mind.
God love the '80s, man.
Yeah.
Didn't there was a song on this album that caused some controversy though? That Suicide
Yes.
Solution song.
My least favorite
didn't
song.
Didn't
ahead.
people like a couple fans kill themselves and they said it was this song?
They did, and
They
then
always say that
there are
shit.
these like people who play the record backwards and can hear him.
Did he have to go to
messages
court?
and
I know
stuff like
Judas
that. He did.
Priest had it. Like,
Yeah.
didn't Rob? Is it Halford? What's his
Mhm.
name? He,
Yeah.
he had to go to
Judas
court. Like,
Dee Snyder went
Judas
to
yeah,
court.
they all had to
Yeah.
like stand
Jeez.
trial
Yeah.
for people.
Yeah. They never got anything.
They were trying to say
on
like
Ozzy.
satanic messages were
Yeah.
being like
Yeah,
put on the
play the
lyrics.
album backwards. And
Yeah.
Yeah,
What did Bill
if
Hicks
you
say?
play that song backwards, it sounds like there was like some preacher guy.
I
that
think
said,
even
get the gun, get the gun.
kill yourself.
like even
Yeah,
before
stuff like
that, I
that,
think
but-
Led Zeppelin even had that controversy in the 70s where there were people claiming they were putting subliminal messages if you listen
Yeah.
to their album.
Oh,
backward.
really?
Yeah, and I
So-
think they went to court to
That's
defend
just
themselves.
fucking people high on drugs, dude.
Yeah, it's
Who's
people
got
looking into
time
stuff
to,
that
like-
isn't there.
Sure.
Yeah.
I
investigate
ain't got
this.
no time to listen to no record backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I ain't
Like,
got
why
time
would they
listen
want
a
to do
Ford.
that?
True story.
Like, why would they want to do that? Like,
Sure.
there's no motive for
Yeah,
them
that,
to do something like
that was an old Bill Hicks thing where he was like, bands are sitting around like going, you know what? I'm fucking sick of this. The girls, the money, the drugs. Like, you know what we should do? Let's kill the fans.
Let's kill the people who pay us.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Big old dummies.
yeah.
but that's my number
Man,
one.
it's gonna be sad when Ozzy dies because he's getting up there and like he's like the last like
I've never seen him live.
No.
great.
one of those
Either
like
way, yeah.
hardcore rockers that
Oh
are
wait,
still
no,
around.
I did.
Yeah,
Ozfest. I
that's
saw
very
him live.
true.
Yeah,
They're all
One
aren't
of
they
the
all
Diddy-
live? Black
one of the great
Sabbath
ones.
dudes are all live still, right?
they are.
What's
Yeah.
his
The
name?
original.
The guitar player's alive, right?
Tony Iommi, so live.
Yeah.
Geezer Butler, so live.
They must be what, like 75,
Yeah,
70,
they're
late
up there.
70s maybe.
Sure. I mean, they
But you
were
know, Ozzy
touring.
was gonna tour.
They were touring with Dio up until when Dio passed away.
Yeah,
so that's
when
got to
Ronnie
be
died.
within the last like
He died like
I wanna
6 years
say
ago.
6 or 7 years ago.
Yeah.
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 Well, Ozzy was going to tour a few years ago before I left LA, and he got so sick they had to cancel the tour.
I remember
and
that,
I don't think he's ever gone back out.
No.
He's something's
I
wrong
don't
with
think
him.
him.
so.
Yeah, now he has what does he have? Dementia
Parkinson's
or
or-
Parkinson's? He has
yeah.
something.
Those guys are getting really old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All that partying, man, takes a toll.
Comes
Yeah.
back to haunt you.
Yeah, I saw Judas Priest. I want to say like 9 or 10 years ago, and he came out. His back was so fucked up. He had like a cane,
Oh shit,
Wow.
really?
but he sounded great.
Ozzy?
No, this
No,
is
Rob
Rob
Halford.
Halford. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Was he
he's
still
got a
wearing the
tremendous
leather?
voice. Yeah, of course.
I think he was not wearing the leather.
He's in all denim.
he had a leather cane.
Yeah, yeah, probably did.
All right, Brett, number one.
My number one already been said. I think by 4 out of 5 of us, or maybe all 5 of us. Appetite for Destruction. Guns N' Roses.
Yeah.
Real
Solid.
quick, the Billboard trivia that I do peaked at number 1, or sorry, debuted the week of. I forgot to type in the when it debuted.
All right. Well, that's the
but
podcast.
it peaked at number 1 the week of August 6, 1988, which was over a year after it
After,
actually
yeah.
debuted.
Okay.
And then finally dropped off the week. I totally forgot to put the info on this one.
It's all right.
But we know it was a
Nobody's
huge
listening
success.
anymore
I
at
want to
this
say it was
point.
on the
Yeah.
charts till like
Done.
1990 or 89, like 2 years later. So, but
Solid album.
repeating what all you guys said, it was huge album, hard rock. Like at that time, like that was like a big deal, because like the hair metal stuff was getting popular, and they kind of like went against it. Even though it was kind of like you said, they were kind of. Some people did consider them like a hair metal band, but they
Okay.
were different. And,
Yeah,
they,
I think because they were on the strip at the same time as all those other bands.
Sure.
yeah.
They had a more unique sound and a more unique look, I think.
Yeah.
They also
were-
didn't.
They just didn't have that
Yeah.
cheese
Yeah.
factor.
The
about
hair
them.
metal
Yes.
band, yeah, they weren't as cheesy, and they also didn't like most of the hair metal albums had at least 4 or 5 like just slow ballad, like love song type stuff. Where they didn't do that, they were more like straight hard rock, like rocking every song.
Yeah, what are the slow songs? I'm trying to think of Patience is on Lies, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say Patience isn't on that first album.
Yeah.
They may not even
No.
have a slow ballad on the first album.
I really
It was
wish
all
they would have
rockin'.
put like
I mean-
Yeah.
What'd you
the
say?
cover. At least I wish they would have put the cover art on like a CD. The CD was just so basic. It just said
It's just
like
silver.
Appetite, Guns N' Roses.
Yeah.
Like there was no cover art or anything on there. Maybe I don't know if they've done re-releases and they put like the actual skull, crossbones, and the cross. But that would be kind of cool to see.
Yeah.
CD's nuts.
Oh,
I feel like
now.
I feel like at that time though, like most CDs were just the plain silver with like black writing, like plain writing. Like,
yeah.
it was rare to have
Okay.
like,
I guess Sweet Child of Mine was probably the closest to like a
A
love
ballad.
slower ballad. Yeah.
but it still wasn't like what you call like.
No,
a-
it's not.
No,
It's
Yeah.
not.
not like arena
It
rock
still rocked
style,
harder than like
It's
a.
no
Well,
Every Rose Has Its Thorn.
Yeah. No.
What about what I think about you? Isn't that kind of a love song?
Yeah, but it's still kind of like an upbeat tempo rocking,
Yeah.
like towards the end. I
So
mean, it gets
got
going.
that backbeat. Steven Adler.
yeah, I guess so. All right, George, number 1.
All right, my number one only sold 330,000 copies in its first year. A little trivia for Brett.
Okay.
But is widely regarded as the greatest East Coast rap album ever made by a solo rapper.
what's
slash
Fear of a
hip-hop
Black
artist.
Planet.
What's the release date?
Produced by DJ Premier,
Is it Ice-T?
Pete Rock,
I know.
Large Professor,
If you give me
debuted April 19th, 1994.
it is
Oh,
Illmatic
oh,
by
nice.
Nas.
Illmatic by
I didn't
Nas.
listen to the date.
Wow.
I love that album.
I
I bought
remember
that
that was
album
one of
when
your
it came out.
favorites.
It to this day, it's still my favorite. I played in my car. That's how.
Yeah.
Yeah, that album was amazing, dude. Just his just use of lyrics, and it's almost like a movie played out. From you play the first song all the way down to the last song, it's almost like a movie. You're watching a movie, or listening to a movie, I should say. Very poetic, had a distinct voice. And again, Brett and I were into West Coast
I was
rap.
total-
We-
yeah.
And this album came out, and we're like, what the fuck is this guy?
But this album was only about 5 months after that Wu-Tang album, and I think the Wu-Tang album helped me like embrace East Coast
Yes.
rap more. So then
Yeah.
I was more open to getting Nas because I was like,
Snobs.
another East Coast guy, but I'm gonna buy it.
I'm gonna, yeah, and you notice like I didn't have any of the West Coast guys on here on my top 5 because to me that was rap. That was for what it was, and at that time that was rap.
Yeah.
This is more hip hop. This
Yeah.
is like the classic Run DMC, Beastie Boys,
Yeah.
Nas. I
gotta check that
You know
out.
what I mean?
Yeah,
Is,
it wasn't. Yeah, exactly. I know exactly what you mean.
Is If I Rule the World? Is that
Yeah.
on there?
Yeah.
That's
That
on that
one, If
album.
I
Yeah,
Rule the World.
that's a great one.
That was like his breakout
Yeah,
song.
that
like
was
his
a
hit,
big
first hit.
song. Yeah.
It's just it's amazing how and he hasn't really sold a lot of shit. Like you don't really hear
No, it's
about
true-
him a
it's
lot.
true, yeah.
But to true hip hop.
Yeah.
peop-
he's considered one of the greatest.
Yeah,
like, one
Yeah.
Of
in
the,
the top 3 next to Biggie and Tupac. I would consider him better than both of those guys.
Yeah.
Wow.
he did a
to be honest with
Beastie
you.
Boys collab.
His
too.
lyrics
Yeah.
were way better for sure.
Well,
That's for sure.
100%.
Like his writing ability was
Oh,
way
yeah.
better.
It's
Yeah.
very poetic, very now
Yeah.
in the now. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So yeah, in the early '90s, and even now, like I love hip hop. I love listening to hip hop. It speaks to me. I grew up listening to it. It's my first, huge love of
Genre.
music. Yeah.
Yeah.
And just listen to this album is just it hits all those right spots.
That's cool,
for
man.
me.
It's awesome.
The Illmatic is the one where it's a kid. It's him as a kid, right? And
Yeah.
then the follow-up album was him like as an
Oh,
As an
adult.
adult.
And then
Another
was it the
record.
third album or fourth album where he looks like Pharaoh, like
Yeah.
King Tut or whatever? Yeah.
Wow.
He had he would use his face like his imagery for his
Yeah,
albums.
I always liked that about his like album covers. Like,
And
there was,
then
like, a
everyone else
theme.
copied that. Now, Notorious B.I.G. copied it.
Yeah.
Lil Wayne copied it. Everyone took that from him.
Wow.
But yeah, I recommend this album. If you love hip hop, if you love rock or rap, I should say, check it out. It's really good.
Yeah.
I think you guys would enjoy it.
I
There
will
it
check
is.
it out.
Those are the 5. Well, man, let me go through some honorables. I
Do it.
apologize.
Yeah, yeah.
Rage Against the Machine, already said. Talking Heads, the first album. The Stooges, Liz Phair, Exile on Guyville, STP, Perfect Circles debut album. There's a band called Them Crooked Vultures I've talked about a few times. Their self-titled album. The first Pink Floyd album, Piper at the Gates of Dawn. The first Elvis Costello album, My Aim is True. The first Cars album is basically a greatest hits album. Every song on there was a hit. Arcade Fire's first album, Funeral. The Strokes' first album is This It.
Oh, great.
Jimi Hendrix, Are You Experienced?
Great.
Dr. Dre, The Chronic. I can't believe that wasn't said.
I had it. It was originally my number
I
5, but
just qualified it
I've
because
solo record.
NWA.
Yeah.
I follow.
And I've
Brett.
talked about that
X'd
before
it
on the
out.
podcast.
Because
Air, Moon
could've been my
Safari,
number
G11 and Special Sauce. Love that album. Kiss was talked about. George Michael Faith, his first solo album. Great,
Yep.
great album.
Okay.
I couldn't include that
Misfits.
one because of Wham.
Misfits, really? Wow.
Misfits, Walk Among Us. Even
Yeah.
though a lot of people say that's not their first release, it's their first studio release. Paul McCartney's solo album, McCartney. Snoop
come on.
Dogg, Doggy Style. Tenacious D's first album.
Great.
Tom
Wow.
Waits, Closing Time. Gary Newman, Pleasure Principle.
That's a
Frank
good one.
Black. Adam and the Ants, King of the Wild Frontier. Iggy Pop, The Idiot. I love this album. I wore this album out as a kid. Dead Milkman, Big Lizard in My Backyard.
Oh, yeah.
Damn.
The albums that almost made my list: Pixies, Surfer Rosa,
Mhm.
Oh, that's great.
Dave Matthews Band, Under the Table and Dreaming.
I'm shocked that
Yeah,
one wasn't
I
in
know.
the top
Not a
five.
great
That's
album.
a
at
great
all.
album.
Say that.
It's a terrible
I
album.
bet all you guys thought that was number 1.
Yes.
The Sex Pistols, Nevermind the Bollocks. Weezer, Blue Album, Pearl Jam 10, Joe Jackson, Look Sharp, and Roxy Music, self-titled. What about you, Brad?
Sure.
I think you just said most of his.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many there.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, look, I could name all my favorite bands. I mean, we've said a lot of our favorite bands. Like, I don't know. Yeah, most of my favorite bands' albums I'm gonna think of, but I don't know. You sure, Ted? What are yours?
I got about 3 pages of stuff to go through.
Oh my god.
That's what I mean. I'm not giving
I
you
don't
3
know.
pages.
Yeah,
you got my
exactly.
top 5. That's enough.
about
What do you
this?
want from me?
Don't read
I'll
this
give you a
free.
that
This
someone else
podcast
already
is
said.
free.
I'll give you a couple. Exodus, Forbidden, Cacophony, Yngwie Malmsteen, Motley Crue, Gaga, and Madonna are at the end of my list. So,
Jeff Buckley, Grace. That's a good one, actually.
oh, nice.
Yep. I'm surprised no one. Ted's the first one. I have some pop, like vocal pop stuff on my honorable mentions. I think you're the first person that mentioned.
Okay.
Do it. What do you
Nobody said REM or U2. That's interesting.
You know what? I meant to put U2s on my honorable mentions and forgot.
Not
was
great
good.
first albums,
Not-
in my opinion.
Yeah,
Yeah,
none on
I'm
my
not
list.
I'm not a huge U2 fan. Like
Yeah.
I don't.
All right, Brad, what you got?
Here we go. I mentioned top 40 pop music.
Oh, no.
But these albums were big. You can't deny it. Forever Your Girl by Paula Abdul. That album was huge.
What the fuck?
Jesus.
I love that he had the balls to say that.
Aerosmith, Facelift, Alice in Chains, Surfing Safari, The Beach Boys, Damage by Black Flag, Parachutes, Coldplay, It Takes a Thief by Coolio, The Chronic,
Oh,
Dr.
shit.
Dre, Homework by Daft Punk, great debut
Yeah.
album.
Okay.
The Eagles, self-titled first album. Foo Fighters, self-titled.
Great.
Let's see. Turn on the Bright Lights by Interpol. Interpol's like a indie rock band. I love
Yep.
them.
Yeah,
They're
good.
great.
Reasonable Doubt by Jay-Z.
Good one.
Korn's self-titled debut album.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah.
Led Zeppelin.
You might as well say Limp Bizkit now, dude.
Let's see. I'm trying to
It's the
skip
snow
ones that
caps
have
of
already
music.
been mentioned. Ready to Die by Notorious B.I.G. Straight Outta Compton, NWA. Only Allowed, Oingo Boingo. Great first album. Candy Ass by Orgy. I love that album. Outlandos D'Amour by The Police.
Yeah, good one.
For You by Prince. No Way Out, Puff Daddy. Pablo Honey, Radiohead. Ramones, The Ramones, their debut album. Gish, Smashing Pumpkins
it's a
debut.
great one.
The Hurting, Tears for Fears. I almost had that in my top 5. Almost over. Suicidal Tendencies for self-titled album.
It's great.
Undertow by Tool. Regulate, G-Funk Era, Warren G. Love that album.
That's a great
That's
album.
Awesome.
And
But-
Upstairs at Eric's by Yaz. That's my honorable mentions. What were you saying, Brad? Sorry.
I was gonna say, by the way, he's just reading from Billboard.com from
Yeah.
top to bottom.
Yeah, he is.
There aren't any other honorable. There aren't any other albums.
Yeah, that's it.
That's
The
it.
history
Named all
of-
the albums that ever
history-
charted.
Yeah.
What you got, George?
I'm good, man. I pretty much everyone said everything that I was going to say on my list.
Well, that's it. We've nailed it. Everything's been spoken.
Yeah.
Everything's been said. So go out and listen to these albums and email us if you would like to hear any other categories talked about, or you have any comments or suggestions, or if you just want to tell us to stop farting.
5 dudes views at yahoo.com.
All right. Well, everyone, have a very safe and great night. Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening to the 5 Dudes of Views podcast. Be sure to check us out on Apple Podcasts, Libsyn, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, and now YouTube. And while you're on there, be sure to download, rate, and subscribe. You can also check us out on Instagram and Twitter at 5 Dudes Views. And we also are on Facebook. Everybody out there, stay safe. Until next time.